They have come to Lincoln with high expectations for 2010. Will the team and fans say goodbye to the Big 12 with a North and possible conference title in their possession?
Go Big Red! Go Big Red! Number one, baby!
Opening day in Lincoln is like no other in college football. And opening day 2010 could be the biggest in recent memories. Stories have swirled around Memorial Stadium like a brisk Nebraska wind in November. On defense, a tackle named Sue is gone. Can the Blackshirts repeat last year's performance without him? On offense, it was musical chairs at the quarterback position. Will a true leader finally emerge? But the biggest blast came when the university announced it was leaving the Big 12 in 2011.
That's for a different time, different place.
Tonight, those stories will begin to unfold in the heart of Husker Nation, next on Fox Sports Net. For the 305th consecutive game, Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska is sold out, and it's a perfect night for football. The Huskers begin their quest for what could be a memorable year as they face the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. Hello again, everybody. Along with Rich Baldinger, Ron Ronthula. Now, following the Holiday Bowl, Rich, Bo Pelini declared Nebraska is back and they are here to stay. Well, you look at the preseason poll, nobody's going to disagree with that. The highest ranking since 2002, but with that comes some high expectations.
High expectations. The pundits have been spreading the stories. The internet chatter's been banging away in everyone's computer. I see people in the stands wearing number 9 on the back of their T-shirts. That's the type of expectations. You know what? Now we're going to find out about this program, third year in. Can they handle those expectations?
Well, the expectations are high, but that doesn't mean they don't have questions. And there was one big one beginning in spring. There was a cone of silence over who will be the starting quarterback for the Huskers this year. The players found out who that would be at the beginning of the week. The fans found out about 25 minutes ago. And the answer is?
Karnak says, number 3, Mr. Taylor Martinez, the first redshirt freshman to ever start at the quarterback position for Nebraska. A tremendous quarterback in high school, 28 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards passing.
Now, when it comes to deciding who gets the starting position, it doesn't make a difference if it's quarterback or any position. Bo Pelini says it comes down to competition.
We've preached competition since I've been the head coach at Nebraska, every position. And I say, you want to play, you got to earn it. And, I don't, there's no jobs given. There's no, you have to go out there each and every day. And it's pretty simple for me. I go off what I see on film. And we as a staff do. And you put it on film and you're going to earn the job. And that's really given a lot of our guys. Our guys know that there are no favorites played. It's not because of certain names on your back that you're going to go out there and play. And so it really plays into how we run the whole team. And the players trust that we're going to make the decision that's best for the team.
Now, offensive coordinator Sean Watson has spent a great deal of time with all 3 quarterbacks, preparing them for that decision and for this day. But I think it still comes down to how are the other 2 going to handle it.
And Bo Pelini is consistent with his message every time. It's what you do on the field, you have to perform. Zach Lee, Cody Green didn't get the job done last year on the film. They didn't get it done in spring ball. That's why Taylor Martinez is a starting quarterback. But remember, in football, you're always one play away from going back out on the field. The quarterbacks have to be ready to go.
And we may see all 3 this evening. Now, on the defensive side of the football, since Bo and Carl took over, the defensive improvement has been absolutely remarkable. And you look at some of the numbers, even though tonight they start with 2 linebackers short because of injury, this is a unit that could live up to these expectations.
Simply phenomenal. You look at just the scoring, what they've given up, only 10 points per game last year, led the nation. Bo Pelini, that's the one stat he looks at. But you know what? Now we're going to find out about the Blackshirts, the program. Do people believe in it? And I'll tell you what, you look at this guy, he was the reason why last year. But what I want to see the leader on the defense who's going to take his place this year.
And that's the big question. With more on that, the 3rd member of our broadcast team, here's Brent Stover. Brent?
No doubt about it. Everybody in Nebraska Nation knows that 4 of the top 5 tacklers are gone. you can't replace Ndamukong Suh, but a good place to try to start is Jared Crick, a breakout sophomore campaign a year ago. First team All-Big 12, now comes back in 2010 as the preseason Conference Player of the Year on the defensive side of the football. His breakout game last year against Baylor, 7 tackles for loss, including 5 sacks. That was the best sack game of anybody in the country, including his teammate Ndamukong Suh. So Jared Crick comes back in his junior year, 6'6", 285 here tonight. He expects to get a ton of attention beginning here with Western Kentucky. That should help his new running mate at the other defensive tackle spot, and that's sophomore Baker Steinkuhler. Guys?
All right, thank you, Brent. We'll be checking in with you throughout the game. Now, Western Kentucky, they're in only their 3rd year of FBS competition, and they have found the going rough. They're trying to snap the longest losing streak in their division. They've lost 20 straight games dating back to 2008. Their first-year head coach, Willie Taggart, of course, is a former star of Western Kentucky. This is the moment 80,000 plus, and those of you watching on television have been waiting for. The start of the 2010 season. The tunnel walk by the Nebraska Cornhuskers. We will let you enjoy this moment. The Huskers are looking for their 25th consecutive opening day win, the longest in college football. When we come back, the kickoff for the season of 2010. Over 80,000 on hand. The last time Nebraska lost an opening game, that was way back in 1985 versus Florida State. They've won each of their openers during the streak by at least 10 points. And it's a perfect night for football. Temperature 78 degrees, humidity 41%. Winds out of the south at 16 miles an hour for those of you that have their wind gauge in the stands. And the head coach in his 3rd year, Bo Pelini, he told us on Thursday and Friday, 3rd year is his best year. He says, but then again, I've never been anyplace 4 years. So you can see his record in Nebraska. He has been consistent. He established things from day one here at the Huskers, and that's what Willie Taggart in his first year wants to do at Western Kentucky. Taggart was a superstar at Western Kentucky, one of 4 players to have their jersey retired. He was a running backs coach at Stanford. I said, why take a job of a team that's lost 20? He says, I think we can do something special. Nebraska won the toss, and they have deferred to the second half, so they'll be kicking it off. And, of course, Adi Kanalik, a lot of talk about whether or not he would redshirt this year. Coach is telling me on Thursday he's too big of a weapon to even think about redshirting. And you look at the numbers, he had 3rd most touchbacks in the NCAA last year. 29 out of 78 kickoffs, and 2010 is underway. McNeil 3 yards deep. Goes to the right, looking for some space up over the 20. Tripped up at the 22-yard line by Thomas Grove, a backup linebacker. And the quarterback for Western Kentucky, K'Wan Jakes, started 8 of the final 9 games last year, completed about 61% of his passes. But at spring camp, he was the number 2 guy. Coaches didn't like his attitude. Bobby Rainey is the tailback. Rod Johnson now at the fullback. And this is Rainey. Alonzo Whaley wraps him up, the sophomore from Madisonville, Texas. The rest of the starters for Western Kentucky on the line. Michael Patterson at left guard. He's a 2-year starter. He'll have his hands full with Jared Crick. Skill positions, they've got to get the ball to the man who just carried it, Bobby Rainey. He's the key to the offense. He averaged over 6 yards a carry last season.
He's going to have to stay out of a 3rd and long situation, too. With this crowd and this defensive front, 44 sacks last year. Got to get it done on 1st down.
They bunch to the left side. Rainey alone in the backfield, and he takes the pitch. Looks for a block, doesn't get it. May pick up 2. Alfonso Dennard on the stop. The Nebraska defense, the line, Allen, Crick, Steinkuhler, Meredith. They are solid. They can go 8 deep. The linebackers, they've lost Compton and Fisher to injuries. Alonzo Whaley gets the start at will. Levante David at Mike. And the defensive backs. Most of the time in a nickel, or what they call their peso D. We'll talk about that later. Eric Haig is the hybrid DB / linebacker. Just what you talked about, Rich. Long 3rd down situation.
Tough in this place with the crowd and the noise to hear the snap counts.
They give to Rainey again, and he is wrapped up. So 3 runs. They gain 1 yard. Pierre Allen this time leads the charge.
Yeah, just trying to run a little delayed draw. 3rd and long situation. Tough to hear the snap count. You're hoping you can get the defensive line to work up the field quickly. Look at Baker Steinkuhler inside reading it. Everybody beating their offensive linemen. That's what I want to see out of this D-line. You're seeing some quickness. Guys hitting the gap, finding the ball.
Casey Tinius is going to kick it away for Western Kentucky. Check that, it's Hendricks Brakefield. He's a redshirt freshman, and Niles Pauls, number 2 in the Big 12 last year in punt return. Brakefield takes that little half step, and not a good kick. And Nebraska will have outstanding field position to begin this season. Of course, the Nebraska offense motivated to get things fixed. And by the roar of the crowd, the fans want it fixed. Roy Hellu Jr. is in the backfield. Taylor Martinez, his first start, the redshirt freshman out of Corona, California. Here's Roy. Picks up a quick 5 on the play. Masalafua on the stop. Nebraska line almost completely healthy. Mike Caputo replaces Jacob Hickman at center. That's a big replacement. Skill position. Western Kentucky coaches told us on Wednesday they're worried about Niles Paul. And all of us think he's poised for a huge year this season. And now Paul is wide to the right. Martinez first pass to Brandon Kinney is caught down to the 46-yard line, about a yard short of the 1st down. Jamal Forrest on the stop.
Yeah, I like the call by Sean Watson. Young quarterback, freshman. Let's just get a comfort level. Just get him in a rhythm.
Western Kentucky ranked 118th out of 120 last year on D. 3 sophomores start on the defensive line. Jared Clendenin, he's a junior. He's the best defensive lineman and the old man at the defensive line. Now Nebraska goes with 2 in the backfield. Hellu and Tyler Legate. Hellu, right side, has an opening. Oh no, today Martinez keeps it. He may score. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Huge touchdown for Nebraska. Taylor Martinez showing the speed. I'll tell you what, look out, Big 12, all the defensive coordinators. You got a quarterback right now in Nebraska.
And I've got to say, on Thursday when I was at practice, one of the things we all noticed is how he hides the ball and then keeps it, and then he faked me out on it. An outstanding, put it in the gut of Hellu and pull it out. And wait a minute, is that a smile from Bo Pelini in the 1st quarter? We should stop the game and give him a plaque.
Take that picture now and put it in the museum.
And the extra point by Henry is good. So Alex Henry, perfect tonight, and so is Taylor Martinez, the redshirt freshman, first collegiate touchdown. 46-yard touchdown run by the redshirt freshman. Got the crowd on his feet. What a move, though. And I'm telling you, Rich, the way he put it in Helu's gut and pulled it out, 10 Western Kentucky guys were also faked out.
And it was exactly right. And with the split back formations like that, and you see Helu, all the linebackers going ahead and following him, now you've got a quarterback with that much speed. Linebackers won't be able to anticipate that much. They're going to have to be a step slower. Now, you can give the ball to Helu, or you can keep it in your quarterback's hands. That's what makes this offense so deadly. You have to account for the quarterback every time.
I love Cody Green putting the headset on him. Does this calm Taylor Martinez down? Does this take a little pressure off him now that he's got the big run for Taylor Martinez?
Without a doubt. I think it's just, you talk about tightening the pressure, deflating this, just deflating that balloon right now. It helps his confidence so much. And the team, as a player, you see a young man come in and do that, well, I'll tell you, wow, I can believe in this guy.
And Alec worked on getting his kicks high, and again, it's about 3 yards deep, and here comes Willie McNeil again. This time he gets over the 20 to the 27-yard line, maybe the 28-yard line before he's wrapped up. Graham Stoddard making the tackle. We talked a lot about this new Peso defense. Let's look at the setup and what they've done.
Well, and really, this Peso defense started last year. It really started in the Big 12 championship in terms against Texas. It's a 4-2-5 combination. Instead of having a third linebacker, you're bringing in another safety, which gives you run support, but also the ability in coverage. So right now, they started last year, and they're carrying over, and I see a great energy up front.
Well, we saw the first series. Nebraska's defensive line took away the comfort zone for that O-line of Western Kentucky, and they do it again. Levante David, the junior college transfer out of Miami, Florida, with his first stop. We got to keep an eye on number 4, because obviously with Fisher and Compton being hurt, this is the guy that could be the focal point. This guy has great instincts.
A great job seeing the lead play. Now you step up with your keys, and that's the way you come up on that one. Gomes, number 7, nice job of filling that speed gap. Okay, so this defense, it's all about gap responsibilities. You only have to hit one gap, but do it right.
Western Kentucky yet to put the ball in the air. McNeil in motion, and he's got it. And again, nothing doing. Alfonso Dennard with his second stop of the evening coming up. May have picked up 1.5 yards on the play.
They're just looking again, the speed to the sidelines. Everybody in position. Look at Dennard coming to the outside. Good job of turning it back in. Everybody's filling a lane. It looked like a pursuit drill from practice. Don't over pursue. Know where your responsibility is. Stay inside out. That's the reason why you'll have success. And as I said, this started last year and it's carrying over. That's what you want to see out of a good program.
3rd down and 6 from the 31. Jakes empties the backfield. His first pass of the season. Over the middle, caught to Rainey. And he will have the first down as he gets up to about the 39-yard line. Levante David on the tackle.
Yeah, nice job just on the quick slant. And this is what you're going to want for Western Kentucky. They're not going to be able to stand in the pocket. I like the read. I like the separation and the ball. Yeah, David doing a nice job of getting back. But the one thing in this look now, all the linebackers have to do in pass drops is just get back to the curl region. They have to worry about getting to the flats. That allows them to concentrate more on the run.
Jakes on the rollout, dumps it out of the flat to Cooper, and he is wrapped up. May have got 0.5 yard on the play. Eric Haig coming up from that nickel back, that hybrid, that Peso position, whatever you want to call it. He is the main guy in this new defense. And this is a young man, Eric Haig, not only an outstanding person, but he's played nickel, special teams, cornerback. He does what the coaches want him to do, and he loves this new position.
It's all about performing on the field. Bo says it. Whoever I push on, if you don't perform, you're not going to play. So if it's special teams, if it's nickel, if it's a starter, get it done.
On 2nd and 8, Jakes keeps it, gets up to the 45-yard line.
A little zone read that time, keeping the ball.
Jared Crick, his first stop. You know, you look at K1 Jakes. This is a guy, as we mentioned, started 8 of the final 9 games last year. And in spring ball, after practice, he goes and plays basketball. sprains an ankle. He's out of spring practice. Willie Taggart went ballistic on that and said, young man, you're on a football scholarship. You're not on a basketball scholarship.
It's all about accountability. And, you know, Coach Taggart said that these young men had to find out the expectations of playing in the next level, and they're learning that now.
On 3rd and long again, Jake sees the pressure, and he takes a seat by Baker Steinkuhler.
Baker Steinkuhler understands that the majority of your stacks are going to come from just hustle and don't stop the motor. Just take a look at Baker Steinkuhler lined up on the inside. Nice job of releasing. And what he did, he took a nice edge against the offensive guard, able to get a slap, also get his hips around. That's the way you could have. We call that a bull and jerk type of pass rush. And I'll tell you what, Baker Steinkuhler showing some good strength on that rush.
Nebraska tied for 2nd in the country, the most sacks last year. Brakefield, 2nd punt. Niles Paul fields it at the 28-yard line. Heads to the left. Has an opening close to midfield. Finally brought down at the 48-yard line. 7:23 left in the first quarter. The first series for the Huskers exciting. Will the second be likewise? We'll be back. Zach Lee on the left, Cody Green on the right. They are not starting tonight, as you might imagine, as the start goes to Taylor Martinez, the redshirt freshman out of Centennial High School in Corona, California. Coaches have compared him at times to Robert Griffin, the great quarterback down at Baylor, who's coming back from knee surgery, and also a guy named Eric Crouch. Pretty hefty comparisons, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what, just on the speed I saw right there, you can draw comparisons to Mr. Crouch, but he's got a long 4-year career in front of him.
Now, one of the things you just can't make up for, and that's experience. And on offense, the experience is outstanding. You look at the starters, there are 10 returning starters. Obviously, that includes Zach Lee. But that makes for a pretty good offense. And last year, they were beat up by injuries. The wide receivers really didn't do a whole lot. They had to cut back on their offense because of confidence problems. They want to atone for that this year. Now Rex Burkhead has joined the lineup, coming off that broken foot from last season. Martinez looks, pumps over the middle, complete to Burkhead. He's inside the 25, down to the 24-yard line.
Okay, just watch the quarterback. You will talk Taylor Martinez, and you want to see his skill level. Watch the little hitch. Watch the little pump fake. Again, in the shotgun formation, sets his feet. Now the little pump fake. He gets the linebacker the bite, back inside to Burkhead. There's a man who understands the offense. Again, watch the little pump. Linebacker jumps. Now I come back inside. Look at the release high over the ear hole. Wow, this quarterback's got something.
And they're knocking on the red zone door. Burkhead gets down to the 20-yard line. Chris Bullard coming up to make the stop from the Sam linebacker position.
And those words you just said, red zone, let's see what this offense does. This was not a friendly area last year for the Cornhuskers, and I'm talking about the big guys up front too. Got to move some people out. You want to get in the end zone.
Red zone last year, 81% success rate, but only 53% touchdowns.
7 turnovers in the red zone. You're not going to win many football games.
And keep an eye on number 44, Mike McNeil, the top of your screen. They're going to move him all over the place tonight. Burkhead, left side. He has Paydirt in sight, and he scores. Burkhead a 28-yard run and then a 20-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, I'll tell you, just the speed, and he's back from injury too. Talk about that stacked backfield, and again, we're just going to do a little power sweep that time. Nice pull by number 68, Keith Williams. Kick out on the outside. I like the way Caputo got into the play. Again, back knowing where his lineman's going, and in the red zone, scoring points.
2 very impressive drives for the Huskers. And Alex Henry's kick is perfect. He's only missed 1 in his career. The most accurate kicker in college football today. Alex Henry all set up by Burkhead. 3 plays, 52 yards. It took him 72 seconds.
And that's the way they want to move the offense. And again, just taking a look at it and look at the pit level again. Take a look at Williams, number 68. Nice block by the tight end in the corner. And again, Burkhead leading outside, making defense think someone to go to the edge. Now the slash and the cutback. He looks very healthy. Great job of reading your guard, setting it up. Plant the outside foot, make the defense lean towards the sidelines. Now you come back inside. It sounds like me driving a Porsche on the racetrack.
And he held that ball on his hip to the last possible second. You know, at the top of the show, we talked to you about the Holiday Bowl, a 33-0 thumping of Arizona. And this was probably the first time all of last year that this Nebraska offense was healthy. And it showed so much. Zach Lee did a great job, along with Roy Hellu. Everybody played well. Burkhead, this big run here. Arizona was an outstanding defense with Mike Stoops, of course, and his brother Mark Stoops, the defensive coordinator. But this whole offense just thrashed him. We even got a chance to see a little wildcat with Burkhead in that ball game. Very impressive win by Nebraska. And I asked Bo yesterday, said, listen, you know, Mike Stoops and you were very good friends. And he goes, yeah, we played golf this summer. I said, did you talk about it? He goes, never mentioned it. Because you never mentioned it at all. But the Holiday Bowl, 33-0. That was a total thumping.
And you know what? I really even take it back a week earlier when they played Texas a couple weeks earlier, just in the Big 12 championship. It didn't work out for them. But you saw a team compete for 60 minutes to the very end. They gave everything they got. And I think at that point, you know what they said? Hey, we can compete with anybody. We're going to fight the scrap. And it carried over into the bowl game.
Adi Kanalik has kicked 2 into the end zone. Willie McNeil has brought them both out. Maybe, just maybe, he'll take a knee this time and save himself some punishment and just take the ball in the 20.
Might be easier. A little easier coming down. Facing the red wave.
He's a redshirt freshman, you know.
They're not, you know, they're like rookies. You can't really, I'll leave it as that. I'll let Mr. Bill Parcells describe that one for you.
His heart is probably thumping again. Kanalik's third kickoff of the evening. And again, this is about 5 yards deep. Willie says, no fear. I'm really no fear, McNeil. Oh, a denture check at the 20-yard line. Courtesy of Courtney Osborne.
Yeah, Courtney Osborne, number 12, coming down the field, filling in the lane. And this is a teeth rattler. Well, you want to return the ball? Well, I'll tell you what, there was a few red jerseys. Stoddard, and here it is again. Now, this is not a teeth rattler. Ooh, that's a rattle. Everything about the teeth and above got rattled in that.
You can hear it up here, and Carl Pelini knows that's a good hit. 13 total yards for Western Kentucky so far this evening. They wanted K'Wan Jakes to just stay within himself and not get rattled. Here's Bobby Rainey. He gets up over the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Eric Haig with his second tackle of the evening.
Yeah, talking with Coach Taggart, this is a guy they've got to get going. His specialty is get him in the ball in open space. He'll make the first man miss. I don't think you want to try to run between tackles. I know he loves contact, but they got to look to work the edges a little bit. Some look passes, maybe some screen passes. Make this defense from Nebraska cover sideline to sideline.
There's Willie Taggart right there, who coached Toby Gerhardt the last couple of years. Heisman Trophy candidate from Stanford. They fake the pitch to Rainey. Jakes rolling, looking, pressure's on. Nailed as he lets it go, and it's incomplete. But boy, there's a penalty flag on the 15 as Jakes was absolutely leveled by Pierre Allen.
Yeah, he did. Pierre Allen hit him afterwards. They're going to protect quarterbacks. Just let him go. You can't do it.
Cooper Castleberry, one of the outstanding officials from the Big 12, is the referee this evening.
You know, the last time we were here, there were some penalty problems in that game. These are the type ones you can't do it. Just let him go. I understand you're going to the quarterback, but you hit him high.
There are 2 fouls on the play. An ineligible receiver by number 65 of the offense. A personal foul, roughing the passer on the defense, number 95. Penalties offset. Replay second down.
I think Nebraska got the better end of that deal.
I think so too. Just take a look at the hit on QB. Let's see where his hands come across Pierre Allen. You love the effort, you love the hustle, but when you strike him with your helmet first, I thought his hands, but when you leave with your helmet, it's a flag automatically. You can't do it. They're going to protect these guys at all levels.
Well, you know, you and I were talking about K'Wan Jakes. He's 6'3", 190 pounds, maybe. If he's soaking wet, I think that may have sent a message to the young man. Rainey will try it again. This time he shows a little speed as he scampers to the outside. They'll mark him out at the 36-yard line. That'll be good for their first down of the evening. P.J. Smith ran him out.
Yeah, that time, nice job by Rainey outrunning Eric Haig, number 28, who came up. He had the run support on that. He's the last guy in the line. He's got to fill a C gap. If you take a look at the rushing yards last year for Bobby Rainey. But again, that's that speed I talked about, and that's what he's got to have. He's got to be able to bounce to the outside. That time, Nebraska not feeling your responsibility on defense.
Second team Sun Belt last year had 3 100-yard games running the football. Jakes keeps it, pitch it. Back to Rainey. He is wrapped up, but not before he picks up about 3 yards on the play. Haig again on the stop.
Just working on the outside here. Again, you see in the read now coming up on the run support. And again, Haig that time, nice job on the outside. That's his read. He's the first man to fill at that safety position. He's like a linebacker against the run, but also he's got pass coverage. Right there, nice job of taking the receiver to the second level, then making the tackle.
Haig is a great player, isn't he, Brent Stover?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's a big reason they're running this Peso defense, the 4-2-5. He's that hybrid safety linebacker guy in the Peso D. He can play the nickel and kind of move back into coverage, or they can walk him up as a linebacker. Such a great athlete. Good way to get a guy like that on the field. Switch the defense a little bit. I thought it was funny, guys. We asked Carl Pelini yesterday, why the term peso? And he said, you know, I don't really know. There's the nickel, there's the dime, and I guess you may as well go international a little bit.
I thought he was going to go Euro. I told him, I said, why couldn't you name it the Monongahela or the Allegheny or Icy Light? You know, give it a good Youngstown, Pittsburgh feel there. Third down and just a yard to go. And they've got the first down. Jake's just leaning forward. You know, you look at that offensive line, it's not a very big offensive line for Western Kentucky, and some of the guys are kind of young. They've been having a little motto. It's called silence is louder than words. They have not done any interviews since camp began until they break that 20-game losing streak. They even got the O-line coach to go along in it. And they said, you know, Walt Wells, would you go along with it? He said, absolutely. So they're not talking until they break the 20-game losing streak.
And I can understand that, because you know what? Your focus needs to be on the field. It hasn't been. That's why you haven't won football games.
On 1st and 10, here comes pressure again. Jake's off balance. Pass is incomplete. Pressure put on by Alfonso Dennard. You know, last year we saw how selective Nebraska was in their blitzes because they were getting so much pressure from their defensive line. Now we see a blitz coming from the cornerback.
And exactly right. And here he's going to come right out of the corner on the blitz, Dennard. And the thing about this defense in the 4-2-5 is you can mix and match. And it's even harder than a 3-4 defense picking up blitzes, because now you have safeties lined up tight, wide. You have corners coming off the edge. You can really create confusion for a quarterback.
3 minutes to go in the first on 2nd and 10. Rainey tries to bounce to the outside. Penalty flag is thrown, and he's going to lose a yard. Levante David coming up to make the stop.
Yeah, we're going to have a holding on the edge. I like the pursuit of the defense right
holding,
now.
Number 68 of the offense. Penalty is 10 yards, and replay second down.
Yeah, Preston King, the right tackle that time.
But this Nebraska defense is so quick, and when you look at the offense and the defense of Western Kentucky, there's a big speed difference between them and Nebraska.
And that's a really nice job by Pierre Allen. Hands are inside. Look how he pushes the upfield shoulder, and the tackle's got to hold him. But the one thing about Pierre Allen, he looks bigger and stronger this year. They talked about it, Carl Pelini, in the offseason this year, that this was the first time Pierre had a chance to really do a lot of those power lifts. And you can see it put the extra weight and the extra strength on him. Good job one-on-one working against that tackle that time, flattening them out to make the play.
2nd and 20 when Terrence Cooper wide to the left. They'll pitch it back to Rainey. He's the workhorse tonight. Tries to stretch it out, and he is going to be hog-tied right at the 40-yard line. Dennard again, the junior from Rochelle, Georgia, coming up to make the stop.
Yeah, just the fullback that time, Rod Johnson, number 27, 5'11", 267 pounds. He's like a pulling guard. Just throw your body. That's not going to do anything. I'm not really sure what he's looking at. The back wants you. Bobby Rainey just wants you to throw that butterball of a body you have, and he'll just cut in behind you and make the play.
He was number 5 in the Sun Belt in rushing last year, but he's getting all the work tonight, not getting a whole lot of help. 3rd down and 17. Nebraska rushes 4. They tried a little slip screen underneath to Willie McNeil, and he'll be close to the original first down marker. But he'll be about 9 yards short. Dennard again on the stop.
Yeah, Chris, the quick throw inside again. Take a look at it, number 86 on the read. Willie McNeil on the slant. As you said, just a quick inside slip screen that time. And this is why I think they're going to be most effective. Ball's got to be out of the quarterback's hands. Take the 3- and 4-yard gain. And then this is the West Coast offense for you. Short passes, move the chains.
In fact, they went from a spread to the West Coast this year. Western Kentucky did, and that's caused some adjustment problems for the quarterback and some of the line. All standing back at his 22-yard line. Brakefield, a line drive, tries to kick it away from him and does a nice job. And they will mark it out at about the 13-yard line. So it was a good job by Hendricks Brakefield, the redshirt freshman out of Nashville, Tennessee. And Taylor Martinez, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. He had 1, Burkhead had the other.
And let's look at the big picture. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Took the snaps, as we see, 2 out of 2 for 33 yards, but has commanded the huddle. There hasn't been errant snaps. There's been penalties so far here, and they've moved the ball down the field consistently. It's what they couldn't do last year.
Huskers averaging 17.8 yards a play. Now Dontravius Robinson gets his first look. Martinez back, looks in the flat, the long out, complete to Brandon Kinney. That is a difficult pass to throw that deep out like that.
And it is, I'll tell you what, he knew he was going to get hit and get defensive pressure right around his ankles, but you see a guy who does not get rattled, he stays in. Just take a look at it, the fake. Now look at him, look at his eyes, takes the safety away. He knows he's going to get shot, but nice job with the release. I like the way the ball comes over the shoulder, a lot of velocity, a tight spot.
Well, Jamarcus Hardrick has checked in at left tackle. Jeremiah Searles is getting a little breather. Another guy they're high on. Robinson, he's going to be dragged for a loss of about 4. Thomas Majors, their leading tackler from last year, the senior out of Nashville, Tennessee, on the stop.
And that time, too, the center Caputo was pulling on to the right, lost track of his linebacker on the inside. When you pull, head's got to find your guy you're going for. You turn and look to the sidelines, linebackers will run through every time.
One thing that Barney Cotton wants, he wants an 8-man rotation on the front line. We talked about Hardrick and Searles. You got to throw a couple of other guys in there, DJ Jones and all of them. And I'll tell you what, and Andrew Rodriguez, they're solid on the O-line this year.
And just more consistency. Last year, too many times, it was a little loose up front.
Quincy Anunwa, the true freshman in the slot, pass caught at the 35-yard line and fumbled. No, they're saying he was down at the 35. Brandon Kinney, an incredible catch. Be close to the first down, probably about a yard short.
I'll tell you what, this young man's throwing lasers right now.
Oh, brother.
That came out like a bullet. Tape your fingers, wide receivers. Take a great protection up front, delivers it right on the target. And you know what I like about the throw? McKinney that time never had to break stride. It's right in his hands.
Kinney had 15 receptions last year. He's got a couple tonight. The first 15 minutes of the Taylor Martinez era is over. Second quarter straight ahead. .129 yards in the first quarter for Nebraska, only 70 for Western Kentucky, and first-year head coach Willie Taggart. With more on Willie, here's Brett.
Well, it is certainly going to be an uphill climb, but he has won everywhere he's been as an assistant coach. But go back to his college years, he was a standout quarterback for the Hilltoppers from 95 to 98. In fact, he set 11 school records. They even retired his jersey back in 1999. Go back to high school, Manatee High School in Florida. He was the backup and a couple of years younger than Tommy Frazier. So those two were teammates, grew up together. We asked Willie Taggart over the phone this week about his relationship. Great relationship there. They still stay in contact. He said he remembers mostly about Tommy that he was such a great competitor, always the first guy picked, whether it was pick-up basketball or pick-up football. He said, I learned a lot from him. The best story is my sophomore year, Tommy was injured in a district game. I went in, played a great game. Tommy said right after the game, don't get too comfortable. I'm back next week. He always wanted to be the man. That's what Willie recalls.
Willie can still smile, Brent. And we asked him what he's trying to get out of this game. He says, I just want to see my guys compete until the fourth quarter, which is kind of the Jim Harbaugh theory out at Stanford, and also Jack Harbaugh, who recruited Willie. Now the officials are looking at the previous play, and they have looked at it. And Cooper Castleberry out on the field, so I guess it was indeed a completion. Roy Helu back into the I formation now for Nebraska as we begin quarter number 2. And here's Roy. Right side up over the 40 to the 45-yard line. Darius Brooks finally tripping him up, and it's so good to see Roy Helu healthy. Now here's the previous play we were talking about. The officials wanted to make certain
that he had control of the football. I don't think well, it looked like coming around. He's got it tucked under, and he controls it all the way. It rolls out afterwards, so I don't know if you can count it as a catch.
Well, in college football, they considered a catch a process, and he completed the process on that. That's why it's considered a catch. Here's Niles Paul. Stiff arms his way up over the 50 down to the 45-yard line. That's the size we were talking about. The corners that are 5'9" and 5'10" for Western Kentucky, and Paul a solid 6'1".
Yeah, he is. And this again, I like the release by Martinez, and watch the stiff arm by Niles Paul. But tell you what, this quarterback, what I'm seeing right now, he places the ball in the receiver's hands so they can continue the run. They don't have to break down. Niles Paul, there's the strength. They want to see the run after the catch. And there's Martinez, the young quarterback. We've been talking about him. He looks special right now.
Martinez this time hands it off to Paul on a little reverse. Inside the 40 down to about the 38-yard line. Mark Santoro, the leader of the defensive secondary for Western Kentucky, coming up to make the stop.
And you can see Paul coming out exactly right on a little reverse action. Let's watch the flow of the defense. Next time, though, Taylor Martinez will keep that ball. You saw the corner on the backside, safety all flowing hard over the top. Watch for number 3 to keep it, and he'll be scampering out on the other side in the pay dirt.
Martinez a perfect 5 for 5 for 69 yards so far tonight.
Seeing some good poise out of this quarterback, too. Again, the snap from the quarterback, not fumbling things. He's getting things called. Now he's calling a timeout, and right there's a good point.
Smart play. 3 seconds on the play clock. Well, Bo Pelini, I'm sure, likes what he sees so far at his young quarterback. His squad leads at 14-0. We are just under 6 minutes. Here's offensive coordinator Sean Watson, who last year just tried to make something out of the offense, considering all the injuries, and he knew what he had to do. And it was, I said, was it an embarrassment last year? He goes, no, it was more than that. It was the pride thing. And he has great expectations for this young man who's 5 for 5 throwing the football tonight.
And I'll tell you what, he's held up to those expectations tonight. A freshman coming in, first-time starter ever for Nebraska at the quarterback position. You see the throws, the release. I like the way he moves around the pocket, and also, too, the way he keeps his eyes downfield. Right now, there hasn't been much pressure around him, but when it has, he hasn't got jittery with his feet. He keeps them underneath him. That's why he can deliver a nice pass.
And when Sean Watson talks about what he looks for in a quarterback, number 1 is managing the offense. Number 2 is playmaking ability. And number 3 is leadership. And we for sure have seen the first 2 so far tonight. Trey Robinson in the game, and Martinez keeps it. And he is going to be tripped up for a loss of about 2 on the play.
And I think the one thing you see when he runs the football may be different from the other 2 quarterbacks, and Cody Green and Zach Lee, is he has some of that acceleration. Take a look at this. It's almost like a little option play. Again, he reads the defensive tackle, he keeps it. But look at the burst, and he has that little bit of shake to him. Good job on the defense that time. But still, though, you're seeing a guy that once he understands the plays, understands the reads a little bit more, I think he's got a bright future.
Kenny wide to the left, Niles Paul wide to the right. 3rd down, we'll call it 3. Robinson dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Nice job by James Hervey.
Defensive tackle.
Yeah, sophomore out of Tyrone, Georgia.
Yeah, just take a look at him up front, getting some penetration And, you know, it's all about the offensive line, making sure they're doing some things right. That time, number 74, the right guard that time, looked like he was a little confused. Ricky Henry wasn't sure. He thought he was going to have help with the center, Caputo. He wasn't there, and that's why there was penetration by the defense.
Alex Henry, who did a great job last year kicking for the Huskers. Willie McNeil standing back at his 10. Good snap. End over end kick, and McNeil's going to pick it up at about the 7-yard line. Being chased from behind and in the front, and he is going to be dropped at about the 13-yard line. About 6 yards only on the return. We've got a timeout. 11:46 left in the first half. Nebraska pitching a shutout.
Hi, my name is Patrick Combs, and you're probably more familiar with my voice than you are with my face. Scoring for the Huskers! From the years when I started selling Coke up and down these aisles when I was 12 and 13 years old, I dreamed about being up here. As much as I wanted to be on the field, I knew that I probably had a better chance of being the announcer. It is good. So to be involved not only in the athletic department, but to be an alum of this fabulous institution is something I'm very, very proud of.
Over 85,000 on hand at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, along with Brent Stover, Rich Baldinger. I'm Ron Thulin. Good to have you with us today. The 9th largest crowd, and it's to capacity. And I found it interesting too when they put the jumbotron up at the beginning. It's about 5:30, I guess, and they announced the starters. When Taylor Martinez's name was announced, Rich, crowd went crazy.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Absolutely lit it up, and I'll tell you, there's an energy and a passion here. I always walk down on the field before the broadcast, because I'm telling you what, you can raise Frankenstein with the energy level that they have here. But when Taylor Martinez's name was announced, these people are looking for it. They're demanding that this team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, take that next step, which is the Big 12 championship.
K'Wan Jakes, the quarterback. Bobby Rainey, he's been involved in 10 of the 17 plays so far, making 11 of 18. Penalty flag comes in as Rainey gets up over the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Pickup of 2 on the play. Alonzo Whaley coming in to make the stop.
Holding, number 77 of the offense. Penalty is 10 yards, and replay first down.
Only the second penalty of the ball game, both going against the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, just take a look at Levante David, number 4. He's right here. Watch him fill in where he has to. Takes on the guard, the outside shoulder. Now the rest of the guys fill over top. Great job of reading your keys, knowing where you need to be. Strike the offensive people on their side of the ball. Now you can make a big play. You get a holding.
So now Western Kentucky backed up the 7-yard line. They've got to be careful, but as you were talking about during the break, they showed a little speed on the edge, and they seem to have a little bit of success on the last drive. A lot of guys moving around now. Here's Rainey. He'll try the left side. Gets hit as he gets into the hole at the 15-yard line. Levante David coming up to make the stop again.
And also Alonzo Whaley, number 45. I like the job he did too in terms of filling that C gap. And now David can make the play. Take a look at it. They're going to come down. Whaley on the outside, and there's Levante David again filling inside, reading his keys. You hit one gap, and when you hit it, blow it up. Number 4 did that time.
Carl Pelini telling me that David is as instinctive of a player as he's ever been around in 20-plus years. Rainey tries to split a sea of red jerseys. Pierre Allen, though, doesn't go for it and wraps him up. Maybe picks up about 4 on the play. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 9 situation for the Hilltoppers.
And the one thing I like to watch, too, the defensive line from Nebraska. You don't see these guys on the ground. Baker Steinfuller, 6'6". Just take a look at Baker Steinfuller, number 55. They try to get into his knees, gets his hands down. Now he's pursuing from inside out. There's Allen, the defensive end. You don't see the guys on the ground. You can't make plays when you're on the ground. Great job, defensive line, balance, and footwork.
Western Kentucky 2 of 5 on 3rd down. They have only 3 first downs so far. Jake straight back, crushed as he releases the football. Eric Haig lowered the boom on Jakes.
Jake doesn't have J in his name. I'll tell you, watch the blitz. I'll tell you what, it is a painful. But this is what we're talking about in terms of the blitzes. We'll take a look at it one time, overload one side, and again, take a look at it. Confusion up front, not sure who your responsibility is. You put 8, 9 men in the box, creates total confusion for a quarterback where they need to go.
Well, I tell you, Jakes has taken a pounding already. He's taken 3 hits I can think of that takes that 190-pound, knocks about 30 pounds off it. Breakfield's kick will be fielded by Paul at the 35-yard line. Looks for the walls, got a little bit of it forming. Splits it, heads to the outside. Inside the 35-yard line, they'll mark him out at the 34.
Nice vision that time by Niles Paul. Set up behind his blocker, and these are the things he can do. You talk about wide receiver. How about also at special teams? Good job keeping your eyes downfield, balance, now working back against the blockers. Run to daylight, some acceleration, and again, that stiff arm. I'm gonna tell you what, I gotta get him in the boxing ring. That right arm, I think, could knock out Mike Tyson. But again, by watching people on special teams, don't hold. Somebody runs by you, go to the next level and make a block.
Now Cody Green is coming at quarterback for Taylor Martinez, and Rex Burkhead joins him in the backfield. And here's Burkhead. He was outstanding in that opening quarter. Leans his way down to about the 32-yard line as Cody Green now calling the signals, a sophomore out of Dayton, Texas. Sean Watson telling us that last year when he started those 2 games versus Baylor and Oklahoma State, he was nervous in service. That's one of my favorite lines this year.
He was shaking in his boots.
Hey, remember, it was just a year ago against Florida Atlantic on opening day. He had that 49-yard run, which electrified the crowd. So now he's getting some playing time. After the pickup of 2 on 2nd and 8, Green's first pass is complete to Paul. Keeps his balance as he gets close to the 27-yard line. Thomas Majors makes the stop.
And that's a nice job by Cody Green, sitting in the pocket. Just take a look at him. He's going to get some pressure, but he reads the blitz right here. That's a nice job of delivering. He knows he's got to get rid of the ball. Finds his receiver just sitting in the zone that time. Niles Paul, nice read in terms of the wide receiver seeing the blitz. Now, you know what? It's a hot read. Give me a target. Niles Paul does that. That's why you have the pitch and catch.
Nebraska 2 of 3 on 3rd down. They need 3 for the first. Green looks, throws, got the first down inside the 25-yard line down to the 22. Brandon Kinney on the reception. That is his 4th reception. And that's a career high for him for a game.
And maybe the difference is just watch the tight spiral, but also, too, it's a quick passing game we're seeing tonight. Feet get set, deliver the ball. Nice job in terms of finding your receiver. Kenny that time on the little hitch. I like the way Kenny's catching the ball. Arms extended, get in your fingertips, then bring it into your body.
He's a classic possession guy. 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. Nebraska threatening again. Burkhead, right side, inside the 15, gets tripped up. Gets to the 13-yard line by Darius Brooks. What we've seen so far tonight, and I think it's fair to say, we've seen guys like Rex Burkhead was hurt. Then we had Brandon Kinney, who's coming up this year. Niles Paul with a nice little block. They want the wide receivers to be physical and blocking, something they didn't do last year. And already seeing the fruition and the results of hard work in the offseason.
And Kenny 44 that time, and also Niles Paul, nice job on the stop block. Get your hands on him, walk them down the field.
Roy Heller back into the lineup. On 2nd and 3, Green looks to put it up, has some time, tucks it, gets close to the 10-yard line and leans forward. That should be good enough for a first down. Kenny Martin, the sophomore out of Orlando, Florida, making the stop.
And you saw Niles Paul working into the end zone, but Cody Green that time showing some maturity in the sense that could he make that throw? Could he fire it in the end zone? You know what? Watch the run fake. He came here, but he wasn't comfortable with the throw. So he puts the ball away. Kenny just coming across the field late, but again, your quarterback doesn't throw it because he sees safety over the top, and that's the reason why he didn't want to leave it go for an interception.
1st and goal from the 10-yard line. McNeil in the slot to the left. Green just tucks it straight ahead. Following his blocker down to the 2-yard line. Ricky Henry, a nice job from that right guard spot.
Yeah, Ricky Henry that time just folding around. The right guard, take a look at the right guard come around. I like the way he keeps his shoulders square. We call that playing the piano. Find the hole, find your linebacker, and again, that's the way, just walk down the offensive line, keep your shoulders square. Now go hit somebody in the white jersey. Excellent job on the pull that time by Henry, 74. Again, down in the red zone, got to be consistent with the offensive line.
From the 3-yard line, Hellu at the top of the eye. He's got it. And he is going to be stood up, continues to fight. Touchdown, Roy Hellu. Over 1,100 yards last year with 10 rushing touchdowns, and he did a lot of that with a bum shoulder.
And that's excellent vision on his part. Nice double team on the front side between Caputo and Henry. But again, this is the vision that you have with Mr. Hellu. He saw his baby pressure, but he's able to jump backside and leg drive and will not be denied. He's in the end zone.
7 plays, 34 yards, 347. The extra point is good. So Nebraska closing in on 200 total yards in the first half, and they lead at 21-0 with 5:49 left to play in quarter number 2.
And that,
you know, we talk about Brandon Kenny. When you talk with him, he always mentions the fact that he made that catch in the championship game, stepped out of bounds. He would have kept his balance. Nebraska may have gone up ahead in that ball game, but the game ended obviously in heartbreak. We've all seen it time and time again. With Colt McCoy out of the lineup, they throw it out of bounds. Everybody thinks the game is over, but no. They get a chance for the winning field goal. And splitting the uprights, and it was a crushing defeat, needless to say. But Bo Pelini says if they would have done things before that, it would never have come down to the kick. A kick that broke the hearts of Nebraska fans.
If you do what's necessary before that point, it doesn't come down to that anyway. And we didn't do that. We had our opportunities to win the game, and we didn't get it done.
That's tough for a coach and players, isn't it, Rich?
it is tough, but you don't rely on the referees or the officials to win the game or lose the game. It's what you do against your opponent, and it's tough. We can always look from the sidelines, but again, I have to agree with Bo on that one. Offensively, just didn't get anything done during the day, and that's what makes it difficult. And it was a long afternoon for him, and you're not going to win many games when you only have about 140 yards offense.
And when you look at Adi there, if he doesn't kick the kickoff out of bounds, you know, he's only done it twice in his entire career. He doesn't do that, game's probably over. Texas doesn't move the football.
And I know this is Western Kentucky tonight, but 2 times down in the red zone, Nebraska has put points on the board. Penalties not down there, no fumbles, no mistakes. The little things. These were the problems last year they had. Right now, it looks like worked on in camp. It's carrying over well on the field.
Marcus Vasquez is now deep for Western Kentucky. I guess Willie McNeil got to put a little ice on some of the hits he's taken. Here's Vasquez from about a yard deep. For check that, this is McNeil. And he's got some running room up over the 25 to the 29-yard line. So they're running guys in and out. Willie's got no fear, though. I got to hand the young man that.
Taking the ball and bring it straight up the field, using your speed, trying to find a little crease, and maybe get into the pay dirt at the other end. Not that time.
Ball marked at the 29-yard line for Western Kentucky. Once again, first meeting between these two teams. Western Kentucky 0-3 versus Big 12 teams, and all 3 of those losses have come to Kansas State. Kaywan Jakes tonight is just trying to stay within himself. They said don't go out and try to be a hero in this game. Bobby Rainey's done the workman yeoman's job tonight. He may pick up a yard and a half on that play.
Yeah, I thought Jared Crick that time doing a nice job staying at home. And again, they talked about his quickness, but also taking a look at his strength at the point of attack. Works front side, nice separation that time, number 94, in terms of getting that working space. Arms are extended. Now you can find the ball carrier, shed the blocker, get in and make the play.
The crowd is rather quiet. I think they sense that this is getting away from Western Kentucky quickly. Jakes keeps. Picks up a yard on the play. Cameron Meredith, sophomore out of Santa Ana, California, got great experience last year, who's got one of the all-time great collegiate mustaches. You don't see college guys with mustaches. He's got like a Tom Selleck thing trimmed and everything.
Yeah, he does. But again, I'm just watching this defense. Merriman on the outside, and again, Gomes. His job, his responsibility, you could see, is that outside C gap, read to the quarterback. And if he comes your way, you got it. Again, responsibility, staying at home, getting the job done.
Got a little glimpse of the stash there, and I think the other players are jealous. That's why they rib him so much. Kaywan Jakes dumps it into the flat to Rainey. Tries to outrun the Nebraska defense and gets up to the 25 as a penalty flag comes in, and that will probably be against the Huskers. Might be a horse collar. Here's Cooper Castleberry.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask by the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Eric Haig is the culprit.
Again, just watch number 94. He's a little late, but again, reading it. And this is what he learned from Ndamukong Suh. This is where you continue, hustle from sideline to sideline. I'm not exactly sure. Let's take a look at the hit. Is it Haig?
Right? Yes, okay. Haig. Right there.
Well, it almost could go offensively first on that. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it looked like it was more offense than it was Haig on defense.
Well, that's the first penalty for the Huskers tonight. They had 9 in the opening game last year. Jakes looking, throwing it up. This is up for grabs, and that is almost offensive pass interference. Gomes was there, and that ball was floating, intended for Vasquez.
And he was over the top on that one. Nice job of not letting the receiver get behind you. And again, we've shown Gomes in terms of run support. Get some protection up front. But now let's take a look at it. And again, ball was overthrown. But again, receiver bracketed on the outside. Number 9 that time, Marcus Vasquez. No chance in terms of getting that ball.
And that brings up a 2nd down and 10 from the 48-yard line inside of 4 minutes left in the second. Nothing doing. Nice job defensively by Cameron Meredith again.
Just take a look at people in terms of being responsibility. Merriman on the outside, Meredith, 34, and also Crick 94 in terms of gap responsibility. People feeling right now not much success with the running game for Western Kentucky.
You know, we talk about Cameron Meredith. Here's a young man that spent the offseason trying to find out what he can do better this year. And one of the things, and you might want to explain this, Rich, that he talked about was the 6 technique. He said, I had to work on that. I've got to do better when I'm over the tight end. But this is a young man that had a nice season last year with 21 tackles, a sack and a half. But he knew where he had to get better, and he worked on it this summer.
And the 6 technique, you're just lining up inside shoulder of the tight end, and you've got to make sure that you take care of the blocker over you first. And right what I saw with Meredith on that time was separation. And the one thing that Nebraska does, they lock out really well, and they find the ball carrier. You cannot get into their body, and that comes from strength from the weight room, but also working fundamentally sound with your hands.
Let's go down and check in with Brett. Brett?
Well, we have seen just how active Levante David, the young linebacker, can be here in this first half for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He's a guy from Fort Scott Community College. They weren't sure that they needed him. They were there with head coach Jeff Sims, which has been a nice pipeline, him and the Pelini brothers. But they went down there to see Yoshi Hardrick, and Jeff Sims said, you got to take a look. I got this really good linebacker, really heady player. He's going to understand your system. They bring in Levante David for a visit. They were blown away with his knowledge of how they do things in this particular defense and just his overall knowledge of football coming in. And he's the type of guy, they say he does make some mistakes, but his athleticism and his activity and his motor really makes up for a lot of the times that he might be slightly out of position.
And I like what Eric Martin said about him. He said he's got freakish ability.
He does. But, you know, when you talk about a player that's instinctive, it's because he reads his keys. He knows what his responsibility is. He doesn't look anywhere else. Takes care of his responsibilities. That's why he's where he needs to be.
On 3rd down and 10, they try to set up a little screen pass, and it's tipped and caught at the 50-yard line. Not by the man it was intended to. It was intended for Bobby Rainey. And I think Wes Jeffries came down with it, the big left tackle.
Yeah, Crick this time again doing a nice job escaping at the line of scrimmage. And look at the hand slap. Again, getting around quickly in the backfield, and his hands come up just as the quarterback raises the ball. He gets his hands up. He's able to tip it. Nice job on the pass rush, though, in terms of knocking the offensive lineman's hands away. We call that the swipe move, getting your hips around, then in the backfield.
Well, there is a penalty flag at the 48-yard line. Let's listen in and find out what the problem is.
77 of the offense. The penalty is declined. It was 4th down.
Now the penalty's declined. I think what Willie Taggart's arguing is that it was touched by a defensive player, and he just came down with it. It's a moot point, though. They're going to have to kick it away.
And I was just saying that Western Kentucky, they had some success with just throwing the quick slants, maybe a slip screen or something. I think they got to continue back to that when we continue to move those chains.
Well, Niles Paul again back at the 10-yard lines. Had a lot of success so far tonight returning kicks. They try to kick it away from him, and they do, but it'll go into the end zone. So Nebraska will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20, and they'll have 3 minutes and 19 seconds to work with here in the second.
Will Taylor Martinez come back at the quarterback position and run the 2-minute offense?
That's a good point. We were wondering how long he would be in. We thought he'd at least finish the first half.
I thought so too, and actually come back after the second half just so you get the feel of going out at halftime and then having come back to perform again.
Well, he is coming back in.
Yep.
So Taylor Martinez, who's done a nice job tonight, he's 5 of 5 throwing the football for 69 yards. He's run for 46. So far, a complete night. Here's Robinson. Tries to work off that block off the left side, and Ricky Henry able to pick up about 3 on the play, maybe 4. And the clock heads to 3 minutes left in quarter number 2.
You see a little hurry-up offense right now, Nebraska.
That's a good point you made of just letting him see if he can run this 2-minute offense. Now a 3-minute offense. Steps up in the pocket, rifles the football, incomplete. Pass was intended for Mike McNeil.
Again, and how about the movement within the pocket to avoid the rush, but he keeps his eyes downfield. Again, a lot of young quarterbacks will see that rush, begin to drop up. Again, the fake, keeps his eyes downfield. Now the movement, but again, before he throws the ball, and again, looking at McNeil over the middle, he overthrows it, but still, I like the way the young quarterback gets his feet set and underneath him. Yeah, you can put some mustard on the football.
3rd down and 6 now for the young redshirt freshman. Has some time off the fingertips of McNeil. Incomplete, should have been caught.
Right in the breadbasket.
And Ryan Beard on the coverage.
Second one, and again, getting some time in the pocket. You're looking at the release. I like the way he goes through his progressions. Got to be able to catch it over the middle. You're going to get hit anyways, so make the catch, put the ball away, get your shoulders down.
And Alex Henry will have to kick it away. This will be only his 2nd punt of the evening. Nice wobbly kick. Was it touched? Picked up by McNeil. He's going a long way. Doesn't get a whole lot. Levante David on the tackle. This young man is everywhere. We have a flag at the 25-yard line. David is having a heck of a night.
Yes, he has, I'll tell you.
Goodness, we heard Brent's report, and boy, I tell you, the players and the coaches, JUCO guys usually don't come in like this.
By number 10 of the the receiving team. The penalty is 10 yards from the end of the kick, and it's 1st down.
David, by the way, was 6 tackles in this first half.
And he's been where he needs to be at linebacker position in terms of flowing to the football, filling the right gap. And what I like about him is when he hits somebody, the play stops right there. Back does not get an extra 2 or 3 yards. Solid tackler, Levante David.
I think Willie Taggart's going, wait a minute. I don't know if I even had a number 10 out there. There's 2 number 10s. It's either Chris Bullard or Dexter Haynes. They called for holding.
I'll tell you, we're just watching Taylor Martinez in the pocket. Young man, the way he moves his head, works the safety off, delivers the ball. I think this guy's really got a bright future. I'm seeing a really young quarterback, a lot of composure.
And he's got such quick feet. He's probably one of, if not the fastest guy on the team. Coaches call it football speed. Just a reminder, coming up at halftime, I have a chance to sit down and talk to the legendary Tom Osborne. So join us for that. Bobby Rainey's going to be one tired young man at the end of this ball game. He gets up to the 25 to the 27-yard line. John Gomes coming up to make the stop, and that's good enough for a first down with 2:25 left in quarter number 2.
Yeah, Bobby Rainey that time, seeing that the flow of the linebackers over the top, reads it, makes a nice little cut back through the A-gap, able to pick up first down yardage on the play.
You know, talking to Willie Taggart, I said, you see any similarities, not size-wise, obviously, between Rainey and Gerhardt? He says there is a similarity. They both would do anything for the team. Jake straight jump. Oh, he's drilled again as he lets it go. And he is going to be slow to get up if he does get up. That's the third denture check he's had tonight. A Nebraska player is also down, and it looks like it's Cameron Meredith at the 22-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like a shoulder right now. He's grabbing to his shoulder.
And the crowd seeing the replay. That hit by Jared Crick was unbelievable.
Again, just watch the move, the hand slap. And again, that's just the confusion that time between center and the left guard. Left guard thought he had help. Crick splits the double team and able to just lay the lead on Kawan Jakes. Ooh.
I think Okawan hears about 6 phones ringing right now, and he's not sure which one he should pick up. He's going to the sideline. That may bring in Matt Pelisasa, the junior college transfer out of Redwood City, California. Here's a guy that came out of spring practice. They said he was the #1 quarterback. But you can see Meredith in pain. Let's go back to that hit again by Crick.
Oh, I'll tell you what, this was a nice pass rush move. But again, just at the bottom right here, we're going to freeze it. He works right in this gap, the A gap. The guard right here is thinking, I've got center help. He should be staying in tighter. He's looking outside. There's no linebacker. That's why the space takes place. And then Crick with that quickness. Look how he gets his hips through. Man, I will tell you what, that would have hurt. My back's already aching up to that one.
Well, you got 285 hitting a possibly 190-pound guy.
I wonder if he's not a few pizzas over 285. Mr. Crick.
Well, we do not have a good look of the possible injury to Cameron Meredith. We obviously will not speculate. He is setting up right now. They're working on that right shoulder, and Bo Pelini comes over to check him. You can see the uniform over that shoulder pad on the right side.
He looks like he got a stinger more than the way he's walking off. He can still move his shoulder. Looks like more of a stinger. Yeah, it's good to take a look at Meredith here on the inside, working on the pass rush. And again, it looks like he gets stabbed right in the shoulder. And I'm not sure if that doesn't even take place exactly even before. It looked like he took a shot right on the shoulder, maybe in the nerve area. And he went down, and more of a stinger than I think really a major injury on that play.
Kawan Jakes is back in. He went to the sideline during the Meredith injury, and he is back in facing 2nd down and 10. Just a straight handoff to Rainey, and guess who's there again? Levante David, tackle number 7 on the evening.
Yeah, let's use it right here. Here's Levante David right on the backside, folks. Take a look at it. We're just going to flow the play. Again, you guys are all wrong, man. He was inside that time. But again, he has that backside gap, and his shoulders are nice and square at the line of scrimmage, able to make the play. I like the way this guy's physical presence in terms of tackling.
Western Kentucky facing 3rd down and 9. They're 2 of 8 on 3rd down, and Nebraska called a timeout. They want the football back. And Nebraska is now officially out of timeouts. Hilltoppers still have 3. You heard the crowd cheering. That was Ndamukong Suh leaving the field. Think we can get him up here and do a little play-by-play? We had Larry the Cable Guy 2 years ago.
I think they were trying to hand him a helmet along the way out there. Just leaving the field.
On 3rd down and 9. 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the half. Jakes looks, rifles the pass short of the 1st down, up to the 34-yard line, caught by Jack Doyle, the big tight end out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And again, Levante David right there to make the stop.
And good job of rallying to the football, reading the short route, and then people wrapping up. And it looks like David's a little shaken up on that play also, too. Doyle, a big target at 6'6", 260 pounds, tight end.
6th punt already for Western Kentucky. They've averaged 41 yards on the previous one. Breakfield's done a nice job with that little rugby kick, and Niles Paul standing back at the 25-yard line.
Trying to give Taylor Martinez some more time on the field, on the 2-minute offense.
Now I think Western Kentucky has called a timeout. They're probably telling him, do not kick anywhere near number 24.
Anywhere but number 24. High 80 maybe, but not 24.
Kick it into section 3 over on the far side of the stadium before you kick it to 84. You know, you look at Niles Paul. Here's a guy, and I think it's such an interesting story. When I first met him in his first year, I remember coaches telling me he is uncoachable. That's the line they actually used about Niles Paul. But he's really been motivated over the last few years. Last year, of course, MVP of the Holiday Bowl. Did an outstanding job. He had 4 100-yard receiving games last year that tied a Nebraska record. And the coaches cannot talk enough about this young man's work ethic, his attitude, and his leadership. Quite a difference from year number 1.
Quite a difference, right? You're showing the guy out in the field in terms of doing it special teams, also on offense, getting the job done. That's what the younger players want to see, leadership that way. It's not about words, it's about actions on the field.
And now we have motion against Western Kentucky, so they're going to move it up back a little bit more.
Number 7 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, and it's still 4th down.
I love that. And it's still 4th down.
Wanted to make sure of that.
And it's still 4th down. That didn't change. Bro.
You're going to have to do it again. They're not going to give you a freebie.
Son, you're going to have to kick it one of these days. So now Paul moves up to the 34-yard line, waiting Breakfield's kick. This time, no rugby. And he just boots it from the 22-yard line. Ball cannot get to the outside, gets up to about the 27-yard line, 5 yards on the return. Cooper does a nice job just grabbing him by the ankles.
Yeah, he does. Open field tackle, breaking down, working on the outsides, the speed man down the field, closing the corner. And again, when you can make an open field tackle, you got to break down. Good job of wrapping up.
192 yards in the first half for this Nebraska offense. Burkhead has played outstanding.
And this is invaluable experience for Mr. Martinez right now.
And he is in again. Has some time, throws the deep out intended for Paul, incomplete.
And I'm going to tell you what, that was the correct throw. Niles Paul that time was late coming out of his route.
It was.
Take a look at it here. Corners turn. He wants to, and the quarterback reads that. Take a look. He's driving him off the field. He sees the corner turn. Now he breaks it, but he's late coming out of that. He's got to make it quicker, and that just shows you what Martinez has in terms of getting the ball quickly and getting it to the spot.
Still has 46 seconds to work with. Has some time. This time the pressure's coming. He's going to be hit from behind and drop back at the 26-yard line. That'll be a loss of about 2 on the play.
Standing in the pocket. Got to remember, you got to have that clock in the back of your head. Coverage downfield was excellent that time. Zone coverage. Nothing there. Put it away. Maybe take off and scamper.
3rd down and 12. Martinez looks. The deep out pass is dropped. That's the 2nd drop he's had tonight. This one was intended for Kyler Reed.
And Jamal Forrest, number 18, the corner that time. Nice job on the outside in terms of coming in with that inside arm and making the strip.
So that was not a very productive series for young Taylor Martinez.
Yeah, again, just take a look at Martinez in the huddle and in the pocket, excuse me, but I like the way he delivers the football. It's out quick and just working to the wide out. And I'm not sure if there wasn't some confusion there between Niles Paul that time and the receiver. 2 guys too close together. I'm not sure. Somebody had to work more inside on that or deeper.
And here's Alex Henry. High spiraling kick. Willie McNeil's going to call for a fair catch at the 33-yard line with 9 seconds left in the opening half.
Something unusual for himself.
I'll tell you, I don't know who's going to be in the member of the Tub Club first, Bobby Rainey or little Willie.
See, that's why you need to have when you're working with a young quarterback, and I talk about the experience just in that last series for Martinez, you can't ever do that in practice. You've got to work that in game speed, and now the receivers know that ball's going to be there now, so I need to be right on my routes.
30 plays, 82 total yards. And that'll go down a yard as Jakes is going to take a knee and let the clock run down. Martinez, 5 of 7 throwing the football, 69 yards. He rushed for 44. Rex Burkhead, a touchdown, 4 rushes for 33 yards. We saw some outstanding play on both sides of the football. And Nebraska leads it 21-0. And head coach Bo Pelini's with Brent.
Guys, thanks, Coach. How would you assess the first half from your team's side?
Well, it looked like a first half in the first game. Well, I thought we were sloppy. We were a little bit inconsistent. Decent, good start, but too many things that we need to get better at.
How about Taylor Martinez, your freshman?
I thought he did well in the first his first action, and I like the way he handled himself. I like the way he ran the football team, and it's a good start.
Defensively, decent, pretty good.
Well, the same thing, just sloppy. We did some things communication-wise. We were just inconsistent, and we got to pick it up.
Bo, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Bo telling us yesterday he wants perfection in practice and in games. He knows he's not going to get it, but he wants his guys to strive for it. Halftime in Lincoln. The Huskers lead it 21-0.
It's the 2010 debut of the Nebraska Marching Band here at halftime, 21-0 Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln. Brent Stover along to host the halftime, and we'll interview Brendan Stye, the former Husker great All-American, 7 years in the NFL, now with the Husker Radio Network. That comes up next. But first, earlier today, Ron Thulin with legendary head coach and now the athletic director of the Huskers, Tom Osborne.
Not only were the coaches and players very busy over the summer months, so was the administration. Dr. Tom Osborne, athletic director, joins us. You and I talked last year at this time. If I would have told you then that you'd be entering the Big Ten next year, would you have thought I was a little bit off?
Yes, I would. I'd say probably up until, maybe February, March, we hadn't even heard of any option to go to the Big Ten. And, of course, even then it was really a kind of a very distant thought. And so it really kind of all transpired in June and over maybe a 2-week period. So very surprising, and yet it seems like a good fit for us. Big 12 has been great. We love the Big 12. But I think in terms of culture, in terms of having the Big Ten network for recruiting, in terms of weather patterns, and all those kinds of things, and particularly academics, Big Ten seemed like a better fit at this point. So, and I guess one of the big things about the Big Ten is stability. You know, it's been there for 100 years, and you're pretty sure it's going to be there another 100 years. And so the way the college football landscape is right now, we thought that was probably the best thing for us.
Let's look at the division they put you in. You're with Iowa, Northwestern, Michigan, Michigan State, and of course Minnesota. That becomes a natural rivalry with Iowa, doesn't it? And do you like that division that you put in?
Yeah, that would have been our preference. There were a couple of different scenarios that we could have entered into. So the one we got was the one we liked. And of course, the thing that you have to remember is that we have one cross-division rival, which will be Penn State. So you'll play the 5 teams in your division, and then you'll play Penn State every year. The thing that is tough is that you also play 2 other teams cross-sectional or across those division lines. And so we had a pretty tough draw here because we got Ohio State and we got Wisconsin, which is probably the 2 toughest teams that we could possibly have drawn for those first 2 years. And of course, after those first 2 years, then we'll probably have 2 different teams. So it's going to be challenging, but I think it'll be very interesting, and we'll have some great games here for our fans.
I love the reaction when you saw the schedule for next year, because you look at the schedule in November with those back-to-back games with the Michigan and Penn State, but then you look at Fresno State, Washington, Wyoming, your non-conference schedule. First question, in light of what the schedule could be in conference play, do you have to adjust your non-conference thinking now when scheduling games?
Well, I think there will be some adjustment. There's talk And I think it's very serious talk right now in 2015 going to 9 conference games. So you'll find that every team wants to have 7 home games in the Big Ten. So in order to do that, you're not going to be able to play very many teams that want a home-and-home relationship with you. So most of those 3 remaining are going to have to be teams, at least some years, that will promise you that they'll come into your stadium. You will not have to return engagement. So it'll make it tougher. And you know, Bo Pelini is willing to take on a challenge. And so next year really is the first schedule where he and Jeff Jamrog, the director of football operations, have entered into it. And so we got Wyoming and we got Fresno, and then we got the rest of those schools to play. So it's going to be one of the most challenging slates, I think, in the country.
I think your reaction was wow. And by the way, I called the Big Ten. I said, please give Coach Osborne a vote before 2011, okay? You deserve a vote. Come on. I mean, who are we kidding here? Coach, as always, thank you so much for being with us.
It is odd because, you know, I'm not particularly welcome at Big 12 meetings this year, so I probably won't even go to those, and then I don't have a vote at the Big Ten. But hopefully that'll get rectified in a year.
I hope so too. Coach, as always, thanks so much.
Okay, Ron. Nice to see you.
A freshman quarterback and nearly 200 yards of total offense for the Big Red in the opening 2 quarters. Halftime in Lincoln, 21-0. Interview with Brendan Stye next.
So I'm headed to the game of the year with my new friend. Tailgating was great, but she had the worst seats. So I told her I'd buy all my tickets at ticketexpress.com. She tried to make it up to me. What happened? She got bogus tickets off Craigslist. Bad idea. She's Facebook. Deleted. I just scored the best club seats on the 50 from Ticket Express. See you in the club.
Ticket Express. We've got the best seats, period.
Treat yourself. You're club worthy.
Memorial Stadium, Lincoln, Nebraska, back here at halftime. 21-0, Nebraska 182-82 as far as total offensive yardage. Along with Brendan Stye now, former Nebraska All-American in the mid-90s. 7 years in the NFL. It began with the Steelers. You ended up with Jacksonville, the Redskins. On a night like tonight, how much do you miss playing the game?
You know, I've pretty much gotten over playing the game. You know, you watch these guys fly around, and, you know, it's an amazing thing to see how athletic they are and how hard they hit each other. I just don't know how I did it.
This is your 3rd year with the Husker radio network. Tell me what that's been like for you.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. It started off really as kind of an opportunity to market what I'm doing as for a living, and it kind of turned into, you know, another thing. And we get 2 years down the road, and they brought me on board to do some more things before the game.
Do you enjoy the analysis, kind of looking at it from that other perspective?
I do. It's, you know, it keeps me in the game. That's, I think, the most enjoyable thing for me. It really hones my focus in on what they're doing, and gives me an opportunity, you know, to be around the team. So it's been great.
You've been around here, obviously living here and being part of the sports shows all week. Taylor Martinez at quarterback. What do you think?
Very explosive. Obviously, everybody saw the potential he's got. You know, he's young. There's some things that he needs to work out a little bit, but I think, you know, the defenses we face coming up, they're going to have a hard time differentiating what we've got back there. Who knows? We might see a dual quarterback thing going on.
Defensively, 4 of the 5 top tacklers gone, of course, in Ndamukong Suh. But what do you make of what's left and with the 4-2-5 change?
You got to be impressed with, obviously, our defensive backfield. The 7 guys that are back there formulating what they're calling the peso. You get guys like, you know, the one guy that's really impressed me right now is Baker Steinkuhler up front. Everybody was talking about Suh being this dominant factor that's gone. Baker Steinkuhler's coming in. He's playing, I think, right now as well as Jared Crick. And our defensive ends, you know, Pierre Allen has proven himself over the last 3 years. He's come along. And you know, the one thing right now is you got to worry about that injury bug, the linebacker position. How do we fill in there for Fisher and Compton? And it looks like Levante David's doing a pretty good job.
Your thoughts on the move to the Big Ten next year?
I think it's an exciting move. Obviously, there's a lot of different elements to it. I know the fans are very excited about it. I'm excited about it. Different venues, completely different perspective on the type of competition. You know, it was interesting to see the schedule come out. It's going to be
quite the bang, getting off. But I think for overall, it's going to be a great thing for Nebraska.
Brendan, very much appreciated, and welcome to the media. I guess you're still pretty new, third year.
Yeah, just hanging out, just trying to get a feel for this media thing. So
appreciate the time.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks,
Brendan Sty, the former offensive lineman, All-American here at Nebraska at halftime, 21-0. We've got the out-of-town scoreboard as well as stats and highlights from the booth when we return to Lincoln.
One half of football now in the books. Nebraska 14 first quarter points, 7 in the second. They lead at 21-0 at intermission. Let's take a look at scores from around the Big 12 today. Colorado, a must-win for Dan Hawkins, beating arch rival Colorado State 24-3. Texas takes care of Rice. They double them up 34-17. Somewhat of a shocker in Manhattan. Rick Neuheisel's team goes to 0-1. Bill Snyder goes to 1-0, 31-22. And Missouri, that's state rivalry, defeating Illinois in the final in that ball game, 23-13. Oklahoma State by 21 over a not very good Washington State team. The Sooners by 11 over Utah State. And Baylor, Art Briles trying to get them to a bowl, leading, and Texas A&M up by 13 over Stephen F. Austin. And North Dakota State and Kansas, they're knotted up at 3 at halftime. He's Rich Baldinger. I'm Ron Poole. We're glad to have you back with us here at halftime, where the Huskers put up some pretty good numbers in that first half. But once again, we're excited about Taylor Martinez, just like you fans are. However, this was the 118th defense last year in Western Kentucky. But you still have to temper that, but you look at also the good things that he did.
And you also look at the big picture. You're coming into a pretty tough environment to come to start as a freshman. And one of the things I looked at, could he just take the snaps? And he did well. He managed the game, as Bo Pelini said. So I thought he did a nice job in terms, here's the first run, this is the speed, and when you have a quarterback who can do this, you're going to have to count for him. I like the delivery from out of the pocket. Nice job of setting his feet. He's delivered the ball with a nice strike. Look at the velocity on the passes to the outside, those quick outs. They're right on the market every time, and that's why this guy's going to be successful. From what I've seen in the first half right now, doesn't really get upset in the pocket. Feels pressure, his feet stay on the ground. He doesn't get happy feet. Actually, shows the guy he's got a lot of maturity.
And he had 2 drop balls in that first half. Now, defensively, an outstanding job again by the defense, because everybody was in play, including Levante David, Jared Crick, you name them, they were all in on it today.
Yeah, they did. And the one thing I wanted to see out of this defense was the momentum, the energy. Would it carry over without Ndamukong Suh? Yes, it did. Now, of course, it's Western Kentucky, but you're still playing a 4-2-5 defense. You want to see responsibilities. You want to see flow to the ball. We see Jared Crick getting after people. Across the line, up front, the movement between linebackers, defensive line, safeties, defensive backfield, everyone doing their responsibility. Got to make sure you do it right as you get ready for Big 12 play.
Willie Taggart, I'm sure, had a lot to talk about in the first 30 minutes of play. What did he have to say? Let's send it out to Brent Stover. Brent?
All right, guys, Willie Taggart. Willie, your thoughts on the first half?
I thought we came out early kind of wide-eyed, but I thought later on in the second quarter, our guys started to calm down a little bit, especially the defense started to tackle a little better and got a couple three and outs. Offensively, we didn't execute. We didn't execute well like we're capable of, and told our team coming out, we're going to get their best shot.
Was it more of an O-line thing or more skill position or just the overall?
More O-line, just O-line just getting out and like I say, executing their blocks. Guys are there just not finishing.
I imagine win or lose, there's a million things you want to see and will be able to see positively here in the second half.
No doubt. I want to see our team fight. I want to see our team fight to the end, and like I told them, we're going to get their best shot. They're ranked number 8 in the country, and we're in their home field. We got to go out and we got to deliver a blow.
Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
In his debut as a head coach, Willie Taggart. Guys.
All right, thank you, Brent. Taylor Martinez, how much more is he going to play? We will find out. Nebraska will get the ball to begin the second half.
And it looks like he's going to come out on the field from on the sidelines having his helmet. And this is good. Again, coming back from halftime, there's been some adjustments. How do you handle this now? You've settled down for a few minutes. Got to get the body flowing again.
Kenny and Marlowe back to get the kick. And this will be Marlowe at about the 6-yard line, the sophomore out of Youngstown, Ohio. Up over the 30 to the 34-yard line. Let's take a look at the numbers from the first 30 minutes of play. And you can see the first downs. Western Kentucky, most of those coming in the second quarter, but total yards, out of that 80 total yards, something like 66 came from Bobby Rainey.
Yeah, you like some balance, though. 110 yards rushing, 80 yards passing. This is a freshman quarterback. And again, coming out with Martinez here in the second half. Let's see if the young man can continue it.
And now we have Helu along with Tyler Legate. Here's Martinez, keeps it again, bounces to the outside. It's a foot race. He holds up at the 28-yard line by Darius Brooks.
Tremendous fake, and I'll tell you what, this young man.
You notice I stopped.
You did. He is lightning.
He got me once, so wasn't going to give me again. No.
Yeah, the underhand fake to Helu, but
43 yards. Even our camera guys get it here.
And again, they're spying him here. Number 43, look at him, the linebacker actually that time was sitting right inside, but excellent job by Taylor Martinez in terms of taking it back and then just acceleration. You can't coach speed.
No. Nebraska fans, the way he put it in the belly of Helu and pulled it out, kind of like Thomas Lott used to do at Oklahoma. This is Roy Helu getting down to about the 24-yard line. Give him a yard on the pickup. Jared Clendenin, first time we've called his name tonight for Western Kentucky, the junior out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Roy Helu coming off that season, 1,147 yards rushing.
And what makes it just so difficult when you have a quarterback with speed like that is now your linebackers are always going to have to be a step slow. So now if the ball does come out to Roy Helu, he's 2 steps ahead of the linebackers. It makes it so difficult for defense.
Niles Paul goes wide to the right. On 2nd and 9, Martinez will put it up, looking for Pater to cross the middle. Pass was incomplete. Intended for Niles Paul.
Yeah, looking for Niles Paul on the skinny post that time. I think Martinez maybe want to lead him just a little bit more on that. A little late on the throw. Again, looking for Niles Paul on skinny post, but look at the way he's looking people off, folks. He's going through the progression. Look at the feet, look at the trajectory, and I love the way the arm comes over the top, and wow, what a defensive play at the last second.
Darius Brooks does a nice job.
That right hand.
Yeah. 3rd down and 9 from the 24. In that first half, Nebraska 3 of 6 on 3rd down. They look for a little screen. Penalty flag is thrown. Paul's got it. Takes a hit right at the 22-yard line, well short of the 1st down. Chris Bullard on the hit, but we have a flag.
Yeah, Bullard on the hit. And how about the quarterback standing in? You know you're going to get hit in the mouth.
By number 5 of the defense.
Oh.
It's a 5-yard penalty and replay 3rd down.
Coming in just straight ahead on the blitz, and it looked like there was some miscommunication up front. Again, between the center and the right guard that time, and again, some confusion. But again, I like the way my quarterback stands in the pocket. He knows he's going to get hit, still delivers the football.
Well, Clendenin just lined up offsides, it looked like. Yep. So it brings up a 3rd down and 4, a break for the Huskers. Martinez keeps it right up the middle. He'll have his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Wow, he's a magician. Yeah, just again, the other handoff. Again, you see just the flow of the defense. They're looking at almost like a counter or a power sweep coming towards them. Martinez just reads that. He's reading the linebackers. He goes ahead and lays off and keeps the ball. Excellent job. And I'll tell you what, I like the composure on this young man in the pocket.
The extra point is good. Martinez with 106 yards rushing already in the football game. A couple of rushing touchdowns. They said they needed more running from their quarterback position this year. They're getting it tonight. Taylor Martinez, 19-yard touchdown run. That finished a 4-play, 68-yard drive, covered 1 minute and 59 yards. What makes this play so special, Rich?
Which this linebacker right here, Mr. Follow, he's going to key the running back, Helu, on this, and he's trying to get over the top. But watch your quarterback here, Taylor Martinez. Watch how he reads the linebacker. Look at the block by this left guard, number 68, Williams. Excellent job by Martinez in terms of the fake But again, reading the linebacker. Watch him read the linebacker here. He sees him coming over the top. Look at his eyes right here. He's seeing the linebacker blitz. Excellent job of knowing what's going on the field, and that's a freshman quarterback. Wow, folks.
Hey, you know, I know you linemen like a little kudos, so we're going to give kudos to Caputo on that, because I don't know if you saw that, but 58, nice job sealing off that hole. But Martinez selling the fake, and you know, and also Roy Hellu's selling it.
Yeah, but again, quarterback keeping his eyes up in terms of and watching his key. That linebacker was his key on that play. He knew exactly what to do.
And Willie, I never fair catch it. McNeil from about the 2. Gets up over the 20 to the 23-yard line. 21 yards on the return. Stopped by Eric Martin. First time we've called his name tonight.
And again, Ron, just think of the big picture here. There's been no bobbled snaps. There hasn't been any confusion in terms of having called. I've only seen one timeout where the 24-second clock ran down. I mean, they have been firing on all cylinders, this offense, with a freshman quarterback.
And once again, number one in Bo Pelini's mind and Sean Watson's mind, 75% of a great quarterback is game management.
And at this level, I have to agree with them 100%.
Now the crowd is in it. The Huskers up 28-0. Bobby Rainey's been the workhorse. Jakes keeps it, looking for a deep out in the crossing pattern. Almost picked off by Dejon Gomes.
Yeah, Dejon Gomes, nice read in this again, staying at home. But I also like the acceleration by Pierre Allen, the defensive end. But now watch Gomes, he's going to come back in and then coming back. Now watch one stepper change his direction. Look at him come at this. And again, the reason why he could come back and make that play, give half the credit to the defensive end, Pierre Allen.
Yeah.
He got his hand up in the quarterback's face. Kawan Jakes now has to change the trajectory of the football. And that's the reason why your defensive back can make a play.
On 2nd and 10. Rainey, nothing doing, but he bowls his way up for maybe about a 3-yard gain. Baker Steinkuhler on the stop. You know, you talk about Baker Steinkuhler, obviously the name very familiar with Nebraska fans. And I remember after the first game last year, and the comments of his dad, Dean, he says, I thought Baker looked a little clumsy.
That's a big man. Well, I guess Dan,
he's an All-American. He can say whatever he wants, you know?
That's true, and he was something else at Houston, I'll tell you that much. He could knock some people off the ball, but again, Baker Steinkuhler, good job with the hands in the trenches.
And it's 3rd down and 7. 3 minutes gone by here in the 3rd. Jakes looks, pass complete, 1st down up to the 40-yard line. Marcus Vasquez. He had 19 receptions last year, just a sophomore out of Chula Vista, California.
Here, just take a look at Levante David. He's on the inside. All he has is the curl, but again, you're seeing a nice spin move that time by Marcus Vasquez. Nice way in terms of getting separation, and that's what you want to see your receivers. Find a way to get open, whatever you have to do. Nice shake and bake, nice spin move. Maybe learn that at Studio 54 a little bit.
There you go.
But that's the way you create separation. But I also like the recovery, though, by number 4, Levante David. He is a very special athlete.
Well, we heard Willie Taggart, Western Kentucky coach, talking to Brent, saying the guys settled down in the 2nd quarter, trying to play off that, and they are as Bobby Rainey comes out of the backfield, gets another 1st down. Ricky Tenarce on the coverage.
Yeah, he does a nice job just releasing out of the backfield. Bobby Rainey this time and able to work downfield. And again, it looks like there was a little confusion in terms of who had responsibility. I think Gomes has to be a little deeper on that route, right over the top.
I think Western Kentucky just got Bo's attention again.
Well, and this is what Bo wanted to see.
Absolutely.
One of the things he talked about, coming out after halftime, you got to be prepared.
Now Rainey's all alone in the backfield. A little play action. Jakes looking again into the flat. Pass is complete. Rod Johnson.
A tank.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, just take a look at him. He's just lined up with a hip position to help out his tackle. And a nice job by Kawan Jakes reading downfield. Safety's over the top. I got to hit my check down. Again, watch Ron Johnson sitting inside. Now he gets some time, and the butterball's got it. He gets upfield. You got to give him 4 yards. I mean, at 267, maybe 367 after a few pizzas, he's going to make you some yards every time.
Well, they're down to the 25-yard line, and the crowd getting back into it. They pitch it back. McNeil tries to get to the corner, but he's got 3 red jerseys surrounding him, led by Dijon Gomes.
And I like
but he picked up about 6 on the play.
Yes, he did. He got out of the hands of P.J. Smith, but I like the way Gomes stays inside out again on this. He has the tight end on this play. He sits inside. Now he sees it. He pursues back, but he stays inside out. Watch him stay inside out. Use the sidelines there as your buddy. Nice job on the tackle.
They give him officially 7 yards. 2nd down and short, and so far in this drive, Western Kentucky's been ahead of the chains. Rainey inside the 15, down to the 14, another 1st down. Alonzo Whaley on the stop.
You're exactly right. Alonzo Whaley filling that time to the B gap, doing a nice job. Shoulder staying square to the line of scrimmage, able to scrape over the top. There's a push on Crick, and that's all right if you're getting pushed. Just keep fighting to the outside. Allow your linebacker to scrape. He didn't allow any of the offensive linemen to get to the 2nd level. Whaley's able to make the tackle.
From the 14-yard line, 1st and 10 for Western Kentucky. Timeout, Western Kentucky. Their margin of error is so slim, Rich, I think that Willie Taggart knows they're knocking on the door, and this would mean a lot for his young team right now.
It would mean a lot for his young team, and also for Bo on the other side from Nebraska. He wants to see his Cornhusker come out with the same intensity.
We'll take a break. Western Kentucky knocking on the door, but they're down by 4 touchdowns. Willie Taggart's team, part of a 62-yard drive. Their previous long drive was 27. This is his team, Western Kentucky, that wilted in the 2nd half of just about every game last year, especially in the 4th quarter. Strength and conditioning coach Dwayne Hall said that's not going to happen this year. They work especially on 3rd and 4th quarter and not running out of gas. But can they punch it in now?
Yeah, but you like to see the fight coming out at 2nd half. Didn't give up, going.
And the crowd is loud in that end zone. McNeil spins inside the 10 down to the 8-yard line. Ricky Tenarce meets him.
Ricky Tenarce that time filling the lane. Again, a little misdirection in the backfield. But again, what I'm seeing right now, the last time I was out here 2 years ago, in Bo's first year, we saw some mistakes. Here, most of the time so far, defense is lining up, getting to where they need to be, and this is a whole new system also, too, for some of these guys. So let's see what they can do in red zone defense. This was one of the highlights of them last year in terms of stopping people. Can they continue it now?
2nd down and 5. They can get a 1st down and not score. Here comes the blitz. Jakes reads it, throws, pass, knocked away by Prince Amukamara.
Prince Amukamara getting the hand inside, showing some good quickness, adjustment on the football, and able to make the play. Good to see the blitz. It's going to come on again. David coming inside. Jake stands inside. Nice protection. And again, I'm not sure receiver was even looking for that ball. Again, they got to come when you see the blitz. You got to turn it hot. You got to get the eyes to your buddy in the backfield, your quarterback.
Nebraska gave up only 5 offensive touchdowns in 7 home games last year. None in the last 12 quarters dating back to last year. Jakes wants another timeout. Getting touchdowns in Memorial Stadium is a rarity. Well, Taggart does not like that. And the sophomore who started last year, a learning experience again tonight for him.
Now it's a different area of the field. You can talk about from 20 to 20, but once you're inside the red zone now, expectations, your level of performance rises. Windows of opportunities close. You got to make sure you got communication. Talk to your buddy. If you don't know what's going on, ask him.
Nebraska gave up only 10 points a game last year, best in college football. Mike Sanford, the offensive coordinator of Western Kentucky, knew about this, but once again, he didn't want to do anything fancy tonight. Willie Taggart and Mike Sanford saying, we've got to stay within ourselves. We want our guys to compete. And they've done it here in the 3rd quarter, and it's been impressive.
Bo doesn't look very happy right now at all.
I saw him smile in the first quarter.
We saw. Okay, that's it.
Smile.
We have that in the museum.
One.
But right now, the energy level coming out. I think he's putting the Italian Malocchi on everybody right now.
3rd down and 5 from the 9-yard line. Jakes will go from the gun. The quick snap. Throws it too low. Pass was intended for Doyle, the big tight end. Gomes on the coverage. And once again, you talked about the happy feet. He started dancing a little bit back there.
Yeah, he did. And you got to settle in. You got to go through a progression. Do it right into double coverage on this. Take a look at the tight end. Doyle just releasing up the field. Gomes with him. Good job. See, now in college, you can go ahead and leave your hands on the receiver. That's the NFL. There would be flags thrown out, but here they're going to take the points.
Casey Tinius, a hometown product of Bowling Green, Kentucky. They'll place it at the 16, and he will try to get a 26-yard field goal. The ball's down, the kick. It is good. So Tinius, who was 14 of 19 last year, makes good on his first attempt of 2010. The Pelini's squad gives up a field goal, but it was a drive that covered nearly 70 yards.
He gave up the field goal. But I like the way Gomes in terms of coverage, and this is what it's about. This is what the 4-2-5 in terms of having to say, here he is, right here. He's got the tight end right here, reading all the way. Excellent job in terms of staying at home, but this is what you want. Usually a linebacker's not going to be able to stay with the tight end like this, but this is what a safety gives you. Right in the hip pocket. Now watch the left hand. Poor throw, but I'll tell you what, if it was a little bit higher, Gomes would have been able to get his left hand in there, but excellent job of staying right in the hip pocket of the tight end.
11 plays, 67 yards. They used up 4 minutes and 27 seconds of the clock. And Bo gave some words of wisdom to his defense after they came off the field.
No, I think he wants to give a few more. He's ready to give a thesis right now.
You know what, though, and everybody sees him on TV, and I've gotten to know Bo over the years, and I find him one of my favorite coaches to be around, and I'm not just saying that. But he set a goal when he first came in here, and I went back and looked at our notes from 3 years ago, from last year and from this year. He has never wavered from what he said from day one.
No.
His goals have been the same. It's always get better every practice, get better every game. He's fair to the players. The players love him. The coaches, you talk to the coaches that I've known for 20, 30 years, some of them, and they all say the same thing. He lets me coach. You don't feel like he's looking over your shoulder, and he watches your back. You can't ask for anything else from a head coach.
You can't, but what makes him unhappy is the sloppiness from the first half on a few defensive plays carried over the second half. These are the black shirts. These are the guys who are supposed to be the leaders. This is where your program is going to the next level. That drive against, of course, Western Kentucky shouldn't happen if you're Nebraska. And that's what upsets Bo. And that's what you talk about changing from one half to another. You got to be able to step your game up. Keep that level. Keep that level of working, the intensity for 60 minutes.
Kinney and Marlowe set to receive. The kick from Hendricks Brakefield. Just a redshirt freshman. Driving kick, and this will be Marlowe from the goal line. Looks to the right side, got a little bit of a wall, cuts back, turns out some speed to the 40, to the 43-yard line, and he's hogtied. Thought there may have been a face mask. No penalty flag is thrown. An outstanding return for the young sophomore.
Excellent job on the right return. And again, Marlowe getting outside. See, Western Kentucky loses contain. Look at the kick-out block by number 8 that time. Austin Cassidy on the outside. And then Marlowe reads it, comes back across the field. Now, well, you know, close to a horse collar, but 6 inches more, maybe it was. But an excellent job that time on Marlowe reading the right return. Then putting the ball on the other side and again cutting against the grain. And they get a big return.
42 yards on the return. The sophomore from Cardinal Mooney High School in Youngstown. Very famous high school. Pass complete to Kyler Reed, the sophomore out of Shawnee, Kansas. And of course, Cardinal Mooney is famous because Bo Pelini went there. Carl Pelini went there. Bob Stoops went there. Mark Stoops went there. Mike Stoops went there. Should I go on? All the guys from Youngstown, and I tell you what, we're huge tonight in the MVR club in Youngstown, where they have the bocce courts. Carl Pelini, of course, having the bocce court put here in Lincoln, Nebraska, with oyster shells, and he was so proud of that yesterday. Of course, he didn't invite any of us out to play, but, you know, maybe next time. Trey Robinson. We actually sent our camera guy out there, and we'll see a little bit of that coming up. Trey Robinson, what a great story. And here's a young man last year as a freshman. Had to learn on the run because of the injuries to Roy Hello, the shoulder, and Rex Burkhead breaking his foot. And he just jumped right in and got more and more confident as the season went on. He's added some weight. They call him Thumper now, or he's the thumper guy in the backfield.
Yeah, downhill running, that is his specialty, between the tackles. It's not a guy you want him to bounce outside or dance. Hit him like a tank.
Picked up 7 on that. 3rd down and 3. 3-step drop. Martinez just tucks it. Got the 1st down. Goes to the outside, down to the 40-yard line. We have a flag back at the 43. Jamal Forrest on the stop, but Martinez knew when the hole was opening up, and it might be holding.
Number 74 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty and replay 3rd down.
Now Ricky Henry, the former state high school wrestling champion, is cut for holding.
Yeah, let's take a look at Ricky Henry, number 74, the right guard. And again, he is. And I'm going to tell you the reason why he got caught for holding right here. He's looking at the head of the defensive lineman. You see all his weight get on his outside foot. Listen, when a defensive lineman stands up and gives you your numbers, go ahead and just grab him. Don't try to dance with him. Grab him and just hold on.
Well, that takes that away and makes it a 3rd down and 13 as we close in on 6 minutes left in quarter number 3.
3rd down and 13 from the 39-yard line for Nebraska.
They have 4 to snap it, and they're probably going to call a timeout, and they did from the sideline. Well, we were talking about Trey Robinson just a moment ago. With more on that, here's Brent. Brent.
Yeah, guys, he's only 19 years old, the sophomore. He and his wife got married this past off-season. They lost a child in April. The child was born prematurely, was alive only a few days old. More than 100 teammates showed up for the funeral. That great Nebraska solidarity. Well, Trey has dedicated the season to her, as well as his new wife, draws inspiration from them both. And talking to the Nebraska coaching staff, they say they've noticed a difference. It's really struck him as to how precious life is. It's really created a purpose-driven approach to life and to football for him, guys.
That's a great point. And, you know, you look at Robinson, Burkhead, and Hello. One thing Sean Watson's always liked to do is run running backs with a pack and have a pack of running backs. You have 3 running backs with Hello, who's more of a slasher, Burkhead, who's more of a jitterbug, and then Trey Robinson, who's more of a thumper. Nice little package there, Rich.
And you can never have enough running backs. Bill Parcells always told me I could have 53 running backs and I'm 1 short for the season. They get hurt, 1 high ankle sprain, you got to have the next guy to come in and play.
Andrew Rodriguez now comes into the lineup. Martinez hit as he throws, but still completes the pass. That is a 1st down and more. Fumble, ball is loose. And Western Kentucky has it. Mark Santoro, I think, came up with it.
He made the hit, and Clint Bowen had talked about Mark Santoro as one of those leaders on the defense. He comes away with the fumble recovery. And again, quarterback under duress makes the throw, should be a 1st down and a turnover. Take a look on the outside. Searles that time gets beat around the edge. Martinez is still able to make the throw. But Niles Paul, you got to put the ball away. You can't carry it like a loaf of bread. Get the point of the ball right up into your armpit. Take a look at it. It's loose. He never does. And then he gets stripped. And then Santoro on the recovery.
The Huskers lost only 11 fumbles all of last year. 1st turnover of the ball game tonight. Rainey stacked up right at the line of scrimmage as another flag comes in. Levante David, another stud. He's got to be going into double digits tackles, isn't he? Well, he does have 10 now.
Holding, number 74 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty and replay 1st down.
Michael Patterson is the culprit on that.
Yeah, just take a look at Levante David. He's the inside backer. He has the A gap right here. He sits, he reads, now he works back outside. Look at the hands on the offensive line, but the shoulders are square in the hitting position. I love to see that a linebacker. Don't take him on with your shoulders. Hands and face, stop him there, go make the tackle.
7 penalties against Western Kentucky tonight. That pushes him back, and it's a 1st down and 20. Ball back to the 34-yard line. Up to the 40-yard lines. Rod Johnson, the senior out of Lexington, Kentucky, didn't have a rush all of last year.
He was in on the play again. You know, Levante Davis, what, 210 pounds? But what I'm seeing is a guy who plays about 250. Tremendous technique. Again, just take a look at him in the trenches. Backside, sit, wait, reads his key, then he comes back, and I like the way he gets on the play. Great linebackers like one thing, contact on every play.
And Bo telling us yesterday, said the only thing he needs to do now is apply the rules of the defense. He's got the instinct. He has the ability. Empty backfield. Jake's pass complete up over the 50 into Nebraska territory down about the 47-yard line.
Working against the corner that time.
Nebraska has done a nice job tonight.
Yeah, he has. He's made some nice catches and a good job on the route, too, creating separation. And I'm going to tell you what right now, Western Kentucky, in terms of the wide receivers, Vasquez we talked about, Cooper, Willie McNeil, all of them done, I think, actually a better job than Nebraska at the wide receiver position in terms of working, finding a way to get open.
Once again, Western Kentucky has lost 20 consecutive games. Rainey right up the middle. This could be 6. Inside the 5 to the 4 to the 3. What are they going to call it? The ball is loose. And they're saying Nebraska's got it.
He's 2 steps over the goal line.
They called it a touchback.
Did he lose control of the ball before he crossed the goal line?
Well, I don't think there's a camera exactly on the goal line, and the officials are going to have to sort this thing out.
And again, Whaley this time on the backside, little counter play. Looks like he over pursues number 45. That's the speed of Rainey. But let's take a look. Does he lose control of the ball before he crosses the?
Boy, I tell you, he looked like he was across the goal line.
He looked like he was across it. Take a look at it right here. Gomes on the rip. Did he strip it out? Does he lose control? Yep.
Yep, he was out.
He was out. It was before. Good call by the men in the striped shirts. Great job by Gomes in terms of coming over the top and getting the rip. Saved the touchdown.
Eric Haig was in on that. Gomes was in on that. And they're giving Rainey, who obviously looks upset. Brent, what do you got from the sideline?
Well, guys, both of the Pelini brothers were in the face of Alonzo Whaley, the young linebacker that time. I mean, Bo got his money's worth as well. It was his mistake on that play. Jared Crick came off kind of shaking his head like, oh, we got a young guy out there. We're going to have to iron a few things out as we get set for game 2 next week, guys.
Well, they're going to review it. It's being challenged by Willie Taggart. It was a 46-yard run. But I don't think there was conclusive evidence just because there was not a goal line camera. And you can't really tell conclusively. The call's got to stand, I would think.
You're exactly right. It does have to stand on that because the evidence has to be conclusive. And I thought with that camera angle, it was conclusive.
Rainey 109 yards rushing, but he's going to remember that one for a long, long time.
Yeah, the ball's out. It looks like it.
The ball's not over the goal line. His behind may have been, but not the ball.
Not the ball. It has to be any part of the football has to touch that goal line. And again, it looks like he loses control at that moment. And from that angle, even still, you can see that he has not touched the goal line yet.
Boy, I tell you, you can't say enough praises for this young man, Rainey, because he has just done everything the coaches wanted him to do tonight.
And that was an excellent run on his part in terms of reading on the counter.
That's the only replay that shows the goal line, and you really just from that you'd say he was not over yet.
Yeah. At that look from here,
it almost looks like a face mask too, by the way.
But look where the ball bounces. If he was over the goal line, it looked like it bounced before it hit the goal line.
Well, they're looking at it very, very carefully, obviously. We saw the back judge, Len Williams, was standing right there on top of the play. And his eyes were glued on the goal line. You can see it in that last replay. That's Len on the left.
Again, I just think from where the ball hit, it actually landed before the goal line. So I would think that if you were over, it wouldn't have bounced at that point.
Western Kentucky's game versus Nebraska. This is the second highest ranked team they ever played. Florida in 2007 was ranked number 3. Here's the call.
After further review, The play stands is called first down.
Good challenge, good challenge.
Not enough info to overturn that.
That's exactly right. Camera angle's right there. You see Coach Taggart?
Because he didn't say it confirmed, he said it stands.
It stands. Because the evidence was inconclusive.
Yeah, Willie can still smile, and that's a good thing. So Taylor Martinez takes over and throws it out to the side. That is an incomplete pass. It was close to being a lateral, and Niles Ball getting a little dropsies here.
And remember the Texas Tech game last year when that dropped the ball. Got to be careful. And again, you know, working with I think the receivers right now, take a look at it. The way this ball comes out of Taylor Martinez's hands, it comes with some authority. And again, it's just a little look route. He sees the corner play off. He steps back. The ball's in his hands. But again, looking upfield before he's ready to start running, working against the corner that time. Brooks felt some footsteps, put the ball away, then take off.
2 seconds to snap, and they may not get this off. They barely do. 3 drops on Martinez passes. This time it's Burkhead, got the first down. Rambles over the 35 to the 39-yard line. Chris Bullard on the coverage.
And again, just watching our quarterback, Taylor Martinez, watch his feet, folks. I just want to watch his feet. Let's let him set in the pocket here, and the way he keeps control. And again, he doesn't get happy feet, stands, waits, lets the route develop. Nice job in terms of checking down to your running back, Burkhead, and delivers the ball, so now your receiver can stay in stride.
That was 19 yards on the completion. 1st and 10, here comes the blitz. They're going to try to run it with Marlowe. Over the 50 down to the 48-yard line. He's a little scat bug out there himself, isn't he?
Exactly right. And there was penetration on that play that time for the defense. I think that was 92 Hervey that time who got up the field. But again, you're seeing Marlowe with that speed is able just to outrun the whole defense.
And another first down as we close in on 3.5 left in the third. Nebraska leading at 28-3. They led 21-0 at halftime. Over 300 yards total offense for the Huskers through 2 and almost 3 quarters. Martinez looking, has a lot of time. Fires it out to the flat to Paul. He's got the first down inside the 25-yard line. Knocked out of bounds at the 21. I think Brooks tried to come up with a big play for Western Kentucky, and he came up empty-handed.
And you're exactly right. And it takes a quarterback with arm strength to throw across the hash marks. But again, look at the progression, look at keeping the safety downfield, and then the confidence to hit Niles Paul on the comeback. And that's a tough throw. Brooks right there for the interception. Tell you what, this freshman quarterback, it's superb.
He's got a wing on him. That covered 27 yards. 1st and 10 now from the 21. Martinez keeps it again. Down to the 15-yard line. Takes a couple of shots. That'll be a pickup of 6 on the play.
By number 31, Orlando.
Salafua on the stop.
Yeah, and just take a look at the run blitz that's going to come here. Look at it, both going to hit the line, A-gaps, both linebackers. But this is what I think Martinez gives you. It's just that foot quickness. He's able on one step to make adjustment, reads the linebacker blitz, jumps back outside of the guard, picks up positive yards.
He was 190 pounds when he came to Nebraska. He's over 205 now. Keeps it again. To the outside, inside the 5, still on his feet, still on his feet. Third touchdown of the night for Martinez.
Shake and bake, folks.
Oh!
I'll tell you what, there is a gun. I'll tell you what, Nebraska basketball team might be looking at him right here, Taylor. He's make the first man miss, and then look at the shoulder, not going to be denied, and people just falling. You know what? It's almost like he's like Superman. He's just running by everybody.
127 yards rushing for Taylor Martinez tonight in his debut. The extra point. Alex stays perfect. And it is 35-3 with 2:01 left to play. The 80-yard drive Only took him 6 plays in 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
Yeah, it's just almost set up just like a zone read, folks, that he's just going to take the inside on this. But again, watch him make the first man miss, fake inside. And again, nice block on that by number 82, his wide receiver. And this is a guy who just wasn't want to be denied. And again, nice job of reading his keys. Look how he puts the ball in, takes 1 step forward. Now he's just going to make people miss. Number 90, Bo Adebayo, he's not going to have any part of this. Then he runs over people, and it's like, that was like a little dance step down, choreographed or something.
You know, and Sean Watson said this summer about Martinez and just the fact that the speed he's got and the agility, he said the guy's got to play. He's too exciting to be sitting on the sideline, and we're seeing that tonight. Nice job by the redshirt freshman.
Yeah, Robert Berry, the tight end that time, is on the block on Bio, but I'll tell you what, when you have a quarterback with that type of speed and agility, they want any type of block. He just needs you to get in front of somebody. He's going to make a play.
You saw the passing numbers, 9 of 15, 136 yards. You throw in the rushing yardage, and
7 for 127 yards.
And he's also had a couple of 3 drops tonight, which would increase those numbers. Old Willie's going to let this one go. Hadi Kanalik, who last year had 29 touchbacks and 78 kickoffs. 3rd most touchbacks in college football last year. Final 2 minutes and 1 second of the 3rd quarter, Rich.
Oh, I was just going to say, Ron, now you look at an offense where last year the second half it became so vanilla. It went totally run, very few passes. Now you have a balance. Of course, this is Western Kentucky. But what you're seeing out of quarterback, folks, you see speed. I'll tell you what, he moves around by a young kid who just left Kansas, and Todd Reese.
Yeah. 23 rushes, 11 passes tonight for the Nebraska offense. And Bobby Rainey, who had that costly fumble in the end zone, able to pick up about 3 on the play. Here's Brent.
Guys, Cameron Meredith in the closing minute of that first half went off the field. Not much information from the Nebraska sideline, but they say they don't expect him to play here in the second half, but that the injury doesn't appear to be any big deal. Obviously, considering the circumstances, probably better to keep him on the bench.
Absolutely.
It looked like he had a stinger. And that's something you don't want to get that nerve inflamed. Get him off the field, get a nice pack on him, get it treated now.
It's a long season, Rich, as you know. Washington coming up in a couple of weeks. In Seattle, here's Willie McNeil. Tries to find some space on the outside, and that'll be a penalty.
Late hit.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Alfonso Dennard.
Dennard, you're exactly right.
You got, and this drives Bo nuts. I mean, last year, 9 penalties in the Florida Atlantic game, and I talked to him the following week.
After the play, a late hit, out of bounds by number 3 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty, and it's a first down.
And he didn't care if he won 65-0. When you have what he calls dumb penalties, of course, that's probably redundant.
I think that was Ricky Tenars, though, number 3. Number 3, Tenars, excuse me, was one who came across.
But
well within the white
penalties drive
area.
him nuts. Penalties just drive Bo absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but that's not a hustling penalty. That's one you sort of plays over.
Right.
You can understand when you're hustling. That's a mental error.
2 penalties at 25 yards, though, for the Huskers tonight. Rainey up the middle, close to midfield, about 3 yards short. Terrence Moore on the stop, the junior out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Finally healthy, Terrence Moore had that turf toe last year that bothered him the entire year.
I'll tell you what, a young man that has played a tremendous game tonight is Gomez, number 7. He roams that defensive backfield. I'll tell you what, he's your actual free safety, and I'll tell you, he makes some plays.
Deontay Evans, a true freshman quarterback now in for the Huskers, number 17. Rainey breaks some tackles, got the first down, and into Husker territory.
Rainey showing some speed to the outside, and again, picking up the first down in the play, and this is where they had some success in the first half. Get him into some open space. He has the speed and the elusiveness to make a big play.
20 seconds left in quarter number 3, and I'm not sure if Willie's going to run a play or just let this thing run down. They're going with the wind.
And Willie talked about it. One of his points, he wanted to see his team compete for 4 quarters, and they're doing that tonight.
They've got 5 seconds to snap it before the end of the quarter. And I think he's going to let it go. And that's the end of the third quarter. So Nebraska adds a couple of touchdowns, including another exciting one from Taylor Martinez. They head to the final 15 minutes up on Western Kentucky 35-3. Defensive coordinator Carl Pelini's defense gave up over 200 yards in this ballgame so far, but his team is still leading 35-3. Along with Rich Bollinger, I'm Ron Thulin. Brett Stover's on the sideline. We talked to Carl yesterday and talking football, and we're really getting into it. And all of a sudden, the conversation turned to bocce. You ever played bocce?
No, I have, because usually where they serve doing bocce ball, they're serving cannolis and pasta, so I never get past the dinner table.
Well, this is the Pelini house. He added this bocce court, and he added oyster shells. He goes, needs about a year to settle. But he says, you know, they play in Youngstown every year at the MVR Club, and everybody plays bocce there, and you've got Jim Tressel shows up, and Stoops, and Mark Mangino, and all the Stoops brothers show up. He said they think they're pretty good until they play some real Italians that played us, and they said they get clobbered.
And I suspect that there's probably a no-holds bar on this, too.
Oh, yeah.
You think maybe they line up in the red zone, too, with the bocce ball?
Playing bocce with a defensive coordinator, that's
not smart.
Ramifications that are beyond my...
We'll just leave it there.
We'll leave it there. Let's get back to football. First and 10, ball on the 43-yard line for Western Kentucky. Another decent drive for them. Second half, it's been a completely different football team. We were talking during the break. What, over 120 yards now, Rich?
Yes, sir.
In the second half. Jakes, he's taken some shots tonight, but he stayed in there. This time he gets it to Doyle, the big tight end. He's down to the 24-yard line.
And that is a nice throw by Jakes that time. Tight window, finds his big tight end. Doyle, all 6'6", just going down the seam between two linebackers. Take a look at it here. Watch Doyle just working up the seam, and again, excellent spiral over the hands of defensive linemen in front of the linebackers that time. Tell you what, they found a little mark on that field with success.
That covered 18 yards. His second reception. Coach is telling us they wanted a Jack Bauer, for those of you 24 fans out there, type of tight end, and they said Doyle's that. Here's Rainey. Stutter steps his way down to about the 21-yard line. Levante David again on the tackle.
This is what we call a counter play. Watch Levante David here. Now you're going to pull your backside guard here. You're going to bring your fullback as your second man, and you're going to go ahead and give it to Rainey. But again, watch David staying at home. He's inside the A gap. Doesn't allow Rainey that cutback lane. Able to get in on the play. Excellent job that time by Levante David at the linebacker spot.
13 tackles tonight for David. Second down and 6. The defense stands up and holds them short of the first down by about 3 yards. P.J. Smith, the sophomore out of River Ridge, Louisiana, on the stop.
Filling on run support.
You know, exactly, because you look at the 4 safeties there, well, actually 5 that are listed. They're solid at the safety position. P.J. Smith, Ricky Tennar, sort of interchangeable.
Gomez, number 7, we've been calling his name all the time. Majority of the time, people in the response, they've done their job. When they haven't, that's when the big plays have taken place against Nebraska tonight.
On third down and 3, Jones in motion. Jakes is going to put it up deep into the flat. Has a man caught by Jones. And I think they're going to mark him down at the 1-yard line. Jones came rolling out of the backfield, and Jakes locked eyes with him immediately.
Yeah, just take a look at Jones, just on number 33. He's just coming out of the backfield, and they turned loose. And again, it looked like there was some communication errors. We have a penalty here, or back to the play.
I think it's motion. It was a quick snap. You don't want that Nebraska defense to get set.
And again, it looks like they just turned people loose on that play. Nebraska in a formal play in terms of not knowing where they need to be. Gomez that time looked like he was looking inside, and he gave up the corner route for the big play down to the goal line.
Dead ball foul. A false start by number 74 of the offense. The penalty's 5 yards, and it's still first down.
Yeah, watch.
Michael's had a couple tonight on him.
Yeah, just take a look at Jones, number 33, the tight end releases, and again, Haig just turns him loose to the second level. I saw Gomez before this play looking inside. He thought he had maybe running back. Again, some communication errors in the new defense. You expect that, but again, you don't want to make those errors down in the red zone, defensive red zone.
Well, a timeout's been called. They're going to review the play. I think they may be reviewing the catch that went down to the line because it looked like he may have gotten in. And they're going to have to take a look at it. This is what, our third review, I think, tonight. Bo Pelini pleading his case. We'll take a look at that again, and you decide.
Here's the catch.
Wow, he was on the other side of the pylon, wasn't he?
Well, his foot is, but was the ball over on the other side? Again, do we have a camera angle where you can see this?
He kind of lightened up there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's like he thought, I'm in.
And again, didn't finish the play.
No.
And I'm going to tell you what, excellent job on your part seeing that. You know, Coach Taggart's going to say something about this. You get the ball, you put your shoulder down and get across the goal line.
Yeah.
Kind of.
After further review, the runner was out of bounds before he scored. The play stands as called.
Now Willie Taggart wants to put 7. How about 197 in the second half?
Oh, yeah. There's not the same intensity on this defense in terms of first half to this half. Again, communication errors has cost them some big plays. The run down to the goal line, of course, because they had the strip, of course. But again, people not being in their place. And when you play this defense, it's a one-gap defense. If you don't hit your spot, a good running back with good vision like Bobby Rainey will make a play. And there you saw on that play down to the goal line, turning some people loose, not knowing where your help's going to be at.
Nebraska gave up only 32 points in the fourth quarter the entire year last year. 8 opponents didn't even score in the fourth quarter. And Cooper Castleberry now coming over to Willie and talk about it. Because you've got this big lead, this 32-point lead, you're playing a team that's got a 20-game losing streak. If you're Nebraska, I mean, the coaches preach you got to stay up, but is that almost impossible? Because you, as a player, you know, don't you?
Well, no, you know, there's a level of expectations when you come on the field, and I was always taught one thing: when you cross that white line, you're in a street fight until you cross the white line again and come to the sidelines. So you play the game at 100%, and you also play that way too because prevent injuries. But you know what? This team is the leader. They're supposed to be the ones who set the tempo on this side. So I don't care if it's Western Kentucky. You cannot have the mistakes that they've had here in the second half.
Always points of coaching. You know, coaches, you can't play the perfect game. They're going to find one or two things, and Bo's going to have that tonight. Once again, Willie Taggart's team, they became the 120th member of the Football Bowl subdivision.
But again, you've had some penalties here in the second half that, you know, drive Bo crazy. Mistakes that shouldn't take place. There were some coverage mistakes here on this drive. But overall, not the same intensity out of your defense in the second half that you had in the first half.
Here's the situation. It's 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. The crowd is back into it. Rainey, straight ahead. Touchdown, Bobby Rainey.
Bobby Rainey makes the cut, gets into the end zone, but you saw on that time, defense was not lined up correctly as Western Kentucky hurried up to the line of scrimmage, and it allowed them to score a touchdown. As you see, Levante David trying to move Jared Crick that time. People aren't in the right position. Bobby Rainey finds the hole.
Tinius on for the extra point. High snap. Good job getting the ball down, and it is good. So Tinius for the field goal and an extra point. And Western Kentucky does something not too many teams did to Nebraska in the fourth quarter last year. They scored 9 plays, 80 yards, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Huskers lead it 35-10. Western Kentucky doing a nice job here in the second half. They've added 10 points. They trail at 35-10. Willie Taggart said coming in realistically, his goal was just wanting these guys to compete. And I think you asked him, who do you impress? He goes, we want to impress Nebraska that these guys came to play.
And Jared Crick is supposed to be outside here. You see Levante David trying to take care of it. But watch Adam Smith, the right tackle, pull around. This is the way you finish on the goal line. Watch what he does to P.J. Smith. Go get him, big fella. That's what you call a flatback. Finish it out. I got to highlight those big hogs when they get it done, buddy. Again, Nebraska not lined up. And here comes the big man coming around. I like that move. How about Bobby Rainey showing some quickness and some vision?
And some patience.
Very good patience. But again, when your defensive tackle is not in the right spot, it opened up a wider lane, allowed Bobby Rainey to get outside.
And you can see the score by quarters. 10 points so far here in the second half for Western Kentucky. 21-0 lead by Nebraska. It's at halftime. Here's Kitty. The near side penalty flag is thrown right at about the 25-yard line as Kitty's ushered out to the 34-yard line. Nebraska averaging just under 9 yards a play.
Yeah, 48 red
Holding
that time.
by number 48 of the return team. The penalty is 10 yards, and it's first down.
With Tyler Legate.
A little bit of time.
A little bear hug there.
Yeah, it was. Got him wrapped up around and not really, you know, you got to make sure you keep your hands inside. And again, those are the type of mistakes when you talk about Bo going crazy. Just can't have that. You know, you got whether it's special teams, defense, offense, you got to do things fundamentally correct. And again, now you're starting back from your own 15-yard line, not where you want to be.
Well, Taylor Martinez with 3 rushing touchdowns is now replaced by Cody Green, who played a little bit in that first half. Rex Burkhead, who did an outstanding job in the first quarter. And Green's pass is caught to Kinney. Tries to get back on his feet, able to get up to the 22-yard line.
Cody Green getting rid of the ball quickly. You can notice that seems like one of the big changes here in terms of quarterbacks getting the ball out of their hands into wide receivers. Let your playmakers do something in the open space.
Okay, let's talk about the kind of hypothetical here. You've got, obviously, Taylor Martinez did a great job tonight. Now you've got Cody and Zach fighting for that number 2 spot. There's still competition, which we had Bo talking about at the top of the show.
Oh, they'll be competing every day, every practice for the rest of the year who's going to become number 2. But again, with injuries that take place, always have to be ready.
Here's Cody Green, gets the first down up to the 28-yard line. Kareem Peterson coming up to make the stop.
And again, it gets a little pistol offense this time. And again, Cody Green doing a nice job putting a fake and then keeping himself and around the end.
This is what he did in the first half, completing a Niles ball. And to Kinney. And then he also showed a little bit of his running ability, which he did a year ago against Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, he has the running ability. It's just making the right decisions on the field in terms of the passing game.
First and 10 from the 28-yard line. Here's Rex Burkhead. Waits for the block and he gets it. A stiff arm at the 40. Up over the 50, down to the 48-yard line. Nice job by Niles Paul.
Excellent job by Niles Paul on the block on the outside. And I'll tell you what, I love to see the way when our offensive linemen get the job done. Up front, watch my right tackle this time. Step down Searles, gets up onto the linebacker, tight end and blockman. How about Niles Paul on the outside? Again, stalk blocking, hands inside, moving your feet, getting it done.
20-yard gain for Burkhead. I think Ted Gilmore tells his wide receivers, you've got to learn how to block and put guys on their back. From the 48-yard line, Green's going to put it up. Looks complete. Another first down. Kinney inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, Kenny doing a nice job that time, settling down in the zone. Quarterback that time, Cody Green's getting some time. And again, take a look at the route. He drives off, reads it, sees some safety over the top. Now he settles down, and again, once he catches the ball, I like the way to spin and get back up the field. But a nice job of that time by Kenny, not driving the route too foul. Read the safety, make the adjustment.
14 yards on the pickup. 6 catches, 59 yards for Kenny tonight. Had 15 total last year. Will Henry in the ball game. Top of your screen. The pass, Green throws it, almost picked off. Pass was intended for Ben Cotton. Had him kind of turned around, and Mark Santoro was reading it the entire way.
Again, just take a look at Cody Green in the pocket on the throw. It almost looks like he's trying to push the ball in the direction instead of stepping and just delivering the football. But again, takes a look. He got the play action fake. Now he sets up in the pocket. And again, it doesn't look like his left foot really got pointed in the right direction. Kind of just got his feet squared. That's why the ball sailed on.
Second down and 10 from the 34. Hops over one guy. Penalty flag is thrown as he gets inside the 25-yard line. And it looks like Ben Cotton threw his arms up in the air like, I didn't do that. Not sure if he's the culprit.
And Quayle that time, number 76, doing a nice job pulling on the outside. Power sweep that
illegal block
time.
in the back by number 81 of the offense.
Yeah, it was Ben.
10-yard penalty and replay second down.
And Cotton, the tight end.
Okay, does Bo yell at him, or does Barney, his dad, yell at him? Or do they flip a coin and say, okay, you pick on him?
I'm not really sure. Let's continue with the play. Must happen.
Oh, boy, that's kind of ticky-tacky there, wasn't it?
Yeah, looked like he started and the play was kind of finished and wasn't really going to make a difference on this in terms of the run. And I know Bo's not happy. Flag's on the ground. That's all he knows.
Well, Ron Brown also talking to him. And we've got a timeout with 9:52 left to play in the ballgame.
And I thought that time on that play, and I'm not going to try to take a running back how to throw the ball, run the ball, but we'll talk about it when we come back.
Bo leads it 35-10. Back to Lincoln in a moment. Nebraska over 400 yards total offense. They lead it by 25. Aldi?
Yeah, just taking a look at the sweep play where we just had the flag. And, you know, when you're an offensive lineman pulling, you want your running back to go ahead and put his foot in the ground. If we freeze it right here, guys, there's your running lane right now. There's my running lane. Good job by Caputo. Kick out by Quayle. Now you're one-on-one. Here you're going to see Alou try to bounce outside. And you know what? He doesn't have the support, and you end up getting a penalty on the play. Great runner, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to take what you're given by the defense.
Second down and 9 from the 33-yard line. You know, Bo talked about they were a little sloppy in some areas in the first half, and I think he could say the same about the second half. Cody Green throwing over the middle, has a man. Touchdown, Niles Paul.
And Niles Paul on the post.
33 yards. That ball started floating, though, and I didn't know if it was going to get to him or not.
Hey, there's a little bit of a breeze, and that ball kind of hung up a little bit, but Niles Paul turned on the accelerator, was able to run underneath it.
Cody Green's third touchdown pass in his career, first tonight.
Again, getting some time in the pocket. But again, the ball kind of hung on him a little bit. But you see that great job by Niles Paul in terms of working against the corner and getting to the open spot.
33-yard touchdown pass. Cody Green to Niles Paul. 5 catches, 92 yards for Paul tonight. But Cody Green's shown a little poise also in the pocket.
Yeah, just take a look at Niles Paul. He's going to be over on the outside here, folks, just coming through on the post. And he's just going to be working against the corner. But again, when your quarterback here gets this type of vision, able to throw the ball down the field, excellent job of leading his receiver. And again, it looks like maybe Western Kentucky corner was thinking he had some help over the top that time. Jamal Forrest, number 18, no help from the safety. But again, as an old offensive lineman, I'm going to tell you one thing.
Yeah.
When you can give your quarterback that type of field of vision, he can make the throws down the field. That didn't always happen last year for their quarterback at Nebraska.
Well, Clint Bowen, the defensive coordinator for Western Kentucky, he was at Kansas for 12 years, 4 years as the D coord for Mark Mangino. He was concerned about not only the size of his corners, but also their speed, because he knows what Niles Paul, what Brandon Kinney, what Rex Burkhead, what Ben Cotton, what all these guys can do, and he was very concerned. But I think for the most part, they've held up well tonight, except for Niles Paul just flat out beat them.
Yeah, he did, and it was a nice job on the release. And again, on the post, you want to sell it upfield. Then when you make your break, you create that separation. But again, Cody Green delivered the ball where he needs to.
And of course, the Huskers next week will be right back home. They take on the Vandals of Idaho. That'll get underway at 11:30 Central Time. Once again, it'll be paid for pay-per-view. Check your local cable companies and join us for a little lunch with the Huskers. See, that's a whole promotion. The marketing department should get that.
Wow, lunch sounds good.
Yeah.
And dinner right now?
How about this? Oklahoma having some problems with Utah State. That is in Norman. 31-24 at the end of the third quarter. And we go to Kansas. How about North Dakota State leading the Jayhawks? Turner Gill's debut as the head football coach of the Jayhawks, taking over for Mark Mangino.
You lose a guy like Todd Reese, and you know your offense is not going to be the same.
No, brother. Turner is one of the nicest people I've met in my 3 decades of doing this. You wish him nothing but the best. Here's Willie McNeil, this time from the 6. And he has hit a couple of times at about the 13-yard line. The charge was led by Graham Stoddard.
Yeah, number 38, Graham Stoddard. Doing a job staying in your lane and the open field tackling, wrapping people up, keep your neck full, break down, and special teams. You know what? It's such a big part of the game.
It's field position. You know?
It is.
So it's hidden yards, coaches like to call it.
And again, you get any team starts on the other side of the 20. That's a success right there for the kickoff team in terms of coverage. Great job by Stoddard staying in your lane.
Boy, Bobby Rainey, I'll tell you what, let's see. Coming into that play, Bobby Rainey had 3 receptions, 24 carries, so 27 plays he was involved in out of their total of 53 plays. So half the plays have been Bobby Rainey.
I'll tell you what, nice job in terms of the vision, following your fullback, your guard on the power O, and again, able to stop on the dime. You know what? I'm not going to let big number 74 sit on me. I'm going to jump outside and make that play. Excellent job. Michael Patterson, that's a big left guard, 291 pounds.
And K'Wan Jakes empties the backfield now on 2nd down. Looking, firing pass. Picked off at the 30-yard line by P.J. Smith. He's inside the 10, loses the football. And I think Western Kentucky may have gotten it back, and they did. Michael Patterson, nice job hustling down the field.
And so his offensive lineman always hustling. Never giving up on the play.
Oh, this is a heartbreaker for PJ.
And again, you see in the pressure in the pocket, that was Baker Steinkuhler. There's the tip ball. So Smith now run. I thought he might have stepped out at that point and review it, but again, put the ball away. Might even had hands to the face that time they could have called, but right here I thought he stepped out. He didn't. Just walk down the tightrope, take it in.
He didn't really get hit on that hard either. He just kind of lost it. What's one football coach that Johnny Majors told me? Defensive backs are just wide receivers who can't catch.
And again, looking at Mr. Smith, it looks like at this point he begins. Look how he's carrying the football. You know, this, I'll tell you what, you just blew your days in terms of running as a running back. So with that type of way you carry, it's not a loaf of bread. And that grease pig will become real slippery.
Only a pickup of 1 on the 1st down play, 2nd down and 9. And Western Kentucky's going to burn a timeout. And I think that may be their last timeout. I'm not sure why you'd want to burn a timeout down here. Yeah, they pointed to Western Kentucky, and that would be their last timeout. And the Huskers have 1 left, but I doubt if they will use that.
Well, I think when you're backed up in your own end zone, a young team, what you've gone through in terms of wins and losses, you want to make sure things are done correctly. You don't want to give any more points to Nebraska. Protect the ball.
Let's check in with Brent, see if he's still down there. Brent, you still down there?
Hey, yeah, I am.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, you guys have talked about Western Kentucky. Remember at halftime, the interview with Willie Taggart, I said there's a lot of positives you could probably see out of your team in the second half, win or lose. I think he's seen that. I mean, not just the effort and the fight and, the guy getting back to force a fumble there and get the football back. Quarterback standing tall in the pocket. He's had some drop passes. I mean, that last pick shouldn't have been an interception, but I feel like they've shown a lot of toughness and fight, and that says a lot for him kind of coming in and taking over in his first year and kind of teaching a different way around Western Kentucky, because obviously there's been a lot of losing the last couple of years.
That's exactly right, Brett. He can be proud of his guys tonight. They haven't charged Western Kentucky with a timeout. They reset the play clock. There was a little bit of miscommunication, so they still have one remaining. Bobby Rainey tries to blast his way up over the 7-yard line. Do you think Brett looks like Matt Davison? He could be Matt Davison's brother, doesn't he?
I think so. I mean, looking good on camera.
He is. He looks like Matt. Matt next door to us doing a little radio there now.
I think he needs to come back here in about 2.5 months and do that sideline report. Might be a few degrees cooler. Then we'll see how it is.
Let's see now. Come on, we got to show us Matty. Matty told me I was supposed to say he's the greatest all-time receiver in the history of Nebraska football. That's what he told us to say last night. There's Matty. Brett's got more hair. Here's Greg Sharp, one of the great, and I mean that, play-by-play guys for the college football on his left. Rainey's going to be stacked up. He needed 5. He's not going to get it. It'll be about 3 yards short. Pierre Allen on the stop.
Yeah, just take a look at Pierre Allen working on the outside shoulder. Again, the separation. Baker Steinkuhler in position. But again, when I'm seeing out of Pierre Allen right so far in this game, a lot more upper body strength. He's able to control those tackles at the point of attack.
Well, Tim Marlowe is now back. Niles Paul getting a breather from the punts. This is the 7th punt of the evening for Hendricks Brakefield. This time from his own end zone. Snap is good. Only a 2-man rush, and this is not a good kick. Off the side of his foot. Let's see where they mark it. The officials are looking at each other, but it's not good. I mean, that thing made a right turn as soon as it left his foot, and they're saying it's at the 13-yard line.
I think it hit a detour.
I think it did too.
50-foot mark and just kind of whoop.
I mean, that made a complete right-hand turn.
And Coach Taggart is not happy with that time.
Oh, my. The turn signal was on the football.
It was. Look at it. It just looked like when he dropped. It was.
That is what you call a Rush Limbaugh punt. Straight right. Zach Lee now into the ball game. Last year's starting quarterback. A.J. Jones also in the backfield, and he's got the football now. A.J. looking inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. You know, I know everybody's going to question Zach Lee, but I'm going to stick up for him just a little bit here. Zach Lee last year did not have the wide receivers of the previous year. The wide receivers were on a learning curve. Then he had the injuries. He did everything the coaches wanted him to do, and of course he had the tendon surgery, which was bothering him most of the year last year. And Zach Lee, I think he did about the best he possibly could have done last year. And I'll stick up for the guy.
Yeah, you'll stick up for him because, you know, as you said, wide receivers, offensive line wasn't perfect all the time. They got behind in some games and really just never really got in a rhythm.
And here's Zach handing off to A.J. Jones, and he's got a touchdown. First touchdown for A.J. Jones, 5 yards on the carry.
Yeah, nice run. A.J. showing some speed. And tell you what, when you look at Nebraska on offense right now, here's a team at the skill position, especially quarterback and running back, got second-level burst.
A.J., better known as Austin Jones from Aurora, Colorado.
And again, just not the prettiest play block, but I'll tell you what, when you've got speed like that, you're going to get to the corner every time.
He had 7 carries last year for 18 yards. And he's got a couple tonight and a touchdown. Alex Henry, he has been busy. And it's 48-10 with 5:42 left. Here's the touchdown again.
Yeah, just take a look at number 41, Jake Long. I mean, he does a nice job. He's going to be on your outside here on the right-hand side, but watch the time get upfield and watch him finish the block. Finish, that's it. Keep moving your man into the end zone. You get a flat back. Nice job by the tight end working, and that's what your buddy sees. They all remember that. Finish him in the end zone. Take him, throw him down like a rag doll. Again, woo, I like that. That's how you finish. As an offensive lineman, I want to tell you, that's pretty. That looks good. I'll tell you what, put a few more pounds on him.
There you go.
I'll put him at offensive guard.
And I love the fact that he also, AJ, put both hands on the football.
And he's talking about it right now. He's saying, yeah, I got that flat back. That's mine. A road grader for the night.
I'll tell you what, when they brought in these big jumbotrons, the players loved it.
You can see yourself. You know right then and there, ooh, I don't want to watch that
Not on the
play.
bad things, though. Not on the bad ones. There's the big jumbotron here, and the players absolutely love it.
But you know what I've seen? You know, the routes haven't been perfect tonight. Maybe the timing hasn't been perfect, Ron. But what has been perfect, guys on the outside have been blocking. Mm-hmm. They get it. And if you're going to be a successful running team, it takes the big guys up front to get the running back to the line of scrimmage. But it's going to be the guys on the outside that's going to take them into the end zone.
Now, Willie Taggart knows his team's going to be a little sore tomorrow because they've had a lot of big hits tonight. Bobby Rainey's been dumped a couple of times. K'Wan Jakes has taken a couple of big ones. McNeil. I think Jakes got the worst of it tonight, though.
Oh, he did. And that hit by Jared Cricket. You know one thing with Bo Pelini's team. Tonight there's been some mistakes in the second half. We talked about the penalties. Maybe not everybody understanding where they need to be responsibility-wise. But you're going to get hit now.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get hit. If you're going to play for Bo, you better have a right hook, a left hook, and be able to take a punch, too.
And your opponents are going to feel every one of them.
He's going to set the tempo.
My new favorite player, Willie McNeil, back out of Bradenton, Florida.
We're going to be following him this year.
We're following Willie the whole year now. He's my new best friend. Oh, he took a knee.
Willie, come on.
I tell you, I like this guy. He's got no fear.
Takes it back when he has to. Good job at that time. Not bringing it out.
He's 5'10", 160 pounds, and he doesn't have any fear. I like that.
Get going. You're going to get hit, so you might as well run with the ball.
There you go. And Nebraska goes back on defense. Western Kentucky, much better second half. They have almost 300 yards total offense. They only had, what, 80 in the first half? Rainey's done the yeoman's work, averaging 5.7 yards a carry tonight. 20-game losing streak on the line, longest in the FBS. Here's Bobby Rainey again. Despite being down, there's a penalty flag, probably face mask. Deontay Evans on the tackle. And of course, Nebraska will continue their streak of opening wins, the longest in the nation. This will be number 25, dating back to 1985.
Personal foul, grabbing a help opening by number 17 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Do we have
freshman from Arlington, Texas.
Do we have a count on the penalties here in the second half?
Oh, in the second half? Now you're talking math here. Here it is again. Oh, he got that right
face
hand.
mask, yeah. On the way down.
Now that pushes the ball up to the 36-yard line. We're closing in on 5 minutes left to play the ball game. K'Wan Jakes has gone the distance, and he's going to put it up. Looking over the middle on a crossing pattern, and it's incomplete. Intended for Willie McNeil.
K'Wan Jakes, he stood in the pocket. I mean,
yeah.
And he reads his zone defense, sees the crossing pattern. Again, he's getting some protection up front. Play action fake, delivers the ball where he needs to be, a little bit high. But I'll tell you what, when it hits your zip code, you got to be able to bring it in
every time, especially when your margin of error is slim.
Exactly.
And it's second down and 10 from the 36-yard line. Two wide receivers to the right. Jakes hesitates, gives it to Bobby Rainey again. He trips his way over the 40 to the 42-yard line. Eric Martin coming up to make the stop.
Rainey just showing a nice burst. A little delayed that time on the draw. Nice job by the quarterback looking downfield. Get the linebackers to drop. But Martin that time, number 46. Not the technique perfect tackle, but still able to make the play. I like what Jakes did on that play. Good fundamentals of quarterback. Keep your eyes downfield on that draw. Make those linebackers continue to drop.
Third down and 5. Five-man rush. Jakes' pass is incomplete. Spun around at about the 45-yard line was Vasquez. P.J. Smith, who had the interception and fumble on the coverage.
And just coming up from his safety position that time, reading the crossing counter by Vasquez, number 9. Watching him up again, excellent job on his part. You can see him read his assignment, comes up, he's got the first man coming across, and again, making the strip in the open field.
And again, Western Kentucky is going to be forced to punt. Hendricks Brakefield.
Nice rotation on defense that time.
Yeah.
Smith comes up, makes the play.
Only one man back for the Huskers. There's that little rugby step. This is better than the last play he had, which covered about 3 yards. And it'll be down at the 21-yard line. So Nebraska will take over. 4 minutes and 11 seconds left to be played in this ball game. And Nebraska has had it in hand since the opening half. In case you just joined us, Taylor Martinez was outstanding in that first half. Had a couple of great runs, led the team to a 21-0 halftime lead. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns, and we thought the record was 4. Is that what we decided, guys? It was 4. 4 minutes and 11 seconds left. We will not see Taylor Martinez in those final 4 minutes and 11 seconds, I'm sure. And here's Zach Lee.
Keeping the ball on the run.
If he would have gotten that 4th touchdown, pretty good company. Guys like Eric Crouch, Mickey Joseph, Scott Frost, not too bad.
And number 15 in now to the left tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick, 6'7". I'll tell you, that is a big man. The field is actually leaning a little bit, I think, to that left tackle side.
And how much did Clint Bowen, the defensive coordinator of Western Kentucky, said how much they wanted him at Kansas? They recruited him.
And they said he's that one big nasty man.
Nicknamed Yoshi, and it finally hit me. Yoshi's one of the Mario brothers. In those Mario Brother games?
Yes.
3-step drop for Zach. Looks right, throws left, passes complete to Ryan Hill. Ryan Hill played a lot of fullback last year, changed his numbers. Got his first reception, had 2 all of last year.
Again, just looking at Yoshi with the left tackle. That's a big man. He's going to get in shape, and he's going to become their player. He needs to get that left tackle solidified.
Broke his hand in the spring, got a little far behind on things, and
can't miss him.
Well, he is huge. He's all 6.
That's a big 5'0".
6'7", 320. Lester Ward is now in the backfield, also joining Zach Lee. Here's Zach, straight drop, looking, firing, pass just off the mark, intended for Tim Marlowe.
And again, there's, look at Zach Lee, and those were the type of throws that got him in trouble. One good throw and then a throw like that, wide open receiver.
Look at Yoshi there.
He's in the nickel seats. That's him right there. That's in the nickel seats right there, man. He gets charged for an extra ticket to come into the stadium.
He's a Super Mario brother, isn't he? A.J. Jones back in the backfield now with Zach Lee on 2nd down and 10. They bring 4. Lee's got time. Throws over the middle. Pass is caught at the 50-yard line. That'll be right on the 1st down marker. Quincy Anunwa, they like this true freshman.
Yeah, just take a look at Yoshi again. He exposes his chest by a battle, number 90. Look at his hand. Still can't move that big man. And Pio, number 90, pushing back the Great Wall of China.
Really? Well, Anunwa did get the 1st down, by the way, as we go inside of 2.5 to play. You've been the handoff. Zach Lee keeps it. He fakes it, keeps it up over the 45 to the 40, down to the 43-yard line. Here you've played the whole game. You've been getting your brains beat out, by Williams, by Henry, by Jones, and all of a sudden Hardrick comes in, and now you got to go against him.
And you can see right now one of the things that he's lacking is conditioning, some flexibility, probably a little bit heavy. You can see him breathing.
He's sucking some canal water there, isn't he?
I'm telling you what, that 5'0" probably weighs 100 pounds in itself, that they got Stessels on that jersey.
Collins Okafor now getting a little playing time for the Huskers as we go inside of 2 minutes left in the ball game. They just keep it on the ground close to the 1st down, be about a yard short. Over 500 yards now for the Huskers in this football game. Okay, let's go back to our top of our show. We talked about who was going to be the quarterback. Taylor Martinez got it. He did a great job. Cody Green came in. did a nice job. Now they've played all three. Mission accomplished if you're Bo Pelini.
Oh, without a doubt. I think you figured out exactly who your quarterback is, and just with the young freshman, the way the composure. Let's not even talk about the big plays, of course, but just his composure to come out here in the opening day and do what he did. Thought offensively they got the job done also.
60 seconds left. Little miscommunication in the backfield. Second man through. Mr. Ward, and I think he got the first down. It was needed about a foot.
And the thing that you saw about this young quarterback in Martinez is you did not see any negative plays. Every play improved. He showed his speed, his quickness. He showed an understanding of what's going on in the field. We showed his eyes, knowing his responsibility, the handoffs, the fakes, and everything. There was a young man very focused. Tell you what, you carry that over week in to week out, he's going to become one of the top quarterbacks in this league.
He's still a freshman, and there's still a long way to go in this season. But pretty good start. Very good start. A lot to build on. Zach Lee looking, throwing, dumps it off to Will Henry. Will Henry gets inside the 20-yard line, down to the 16-yard line. And if you're a Nebraska fan who has followed Will Henry, you like seeing that. He's a senior, but that's only his second reception. This is a young man that his entire career he heard the word glimpses and flashes, and he understood that he really hasn't lived up to expectations and came in this year with a little better attitude, and that's his first catch of the season.
A different mindset, and I think what he saw from Taylor Martinez in terms of the starting quarterback, you know what? We got a guy back there that can pull the trigger.
His nickname is Avatar because of the movie. He says he's tall, he's got good eyesight. Probably the final play. Zach Lee will keep it inside the 10 down to about the 8-yard line, and that'll probably do it as the clock gets inside of 10 seconds. So the Huskers with over 500 yards, close to 530 yards total offense. They hold Western Kentucky to 299. And they open the 2010 campaign, the last in the Big 12, with an impressive 49-10 victory over Willie Taggart and Western Kentucky, who sees their losing streak now go to 21 games. But a pretty valiant effort in the second half by Western Kentucky. We'll take a timeout, come back, and wrap it up from Lincoln, Nebraska right after this. Tight end coach Ron Brown leading the post-game prayer, as he always does with both teams. And I tell you what, he is truly one of the great, not only coaches, but human beings that I've ever been around. And Ron Brown does a great job. Along Rich Baldinger, I'm Ron Thulin. And, you know, we came in with a lot of question marks. We talked about the fact they were number 9 in the country, Nebraska highest ranking since 2002. We found out there was going to be a redshirt freshman quarterback. Still some question marks. It wasn't a perfect game. But I think if you look at it just from a big, broad stroke perspective, pretty good start for Taylor Martinez. Great to build on. He showed us some outstanding ability.
Oh, the athletic ability alone. You know, we understand it was Western Kentucky on defense. We talked about some of the yards that they gave up last year, worse in the league. But again, just the speed, his ability to see the field. And I just talk about, here's a guy that had no problem from the get-go. He knew exactly where he had to go with the football. When he had to throw the ball's out quickly. It's on the target. I did not see any poor throws in terms of where he had to place it with the receiver. He allowed him to stay in stride. I saw a guy who was confident, who goes through his progression. And when you have a quarterback like that, let me tell you something, as a former lineman, you know he's going to get it done every time. He has that athleticism. Just get in front of somebody, he's going to make a play. A sweetheart of an opening night for this young man. As a team, a lot of questions have been answered at the quarterback position. He's got to continue to build upon it. Good things will happen for Nebraska.
He had 127 yards rushing the football, and that was a point of emphasis beginning at spring camp to get more running out of your quarterback position. Didn't really use the I-backs, Roy Hello and company. Rex Burkhead obviously had the touchdown pass. Maybe a little more from the running backs, but that's still to come, I would think.
I think so. Now, what they wanted to show tonight in terms of this offense is not going to be vanilla like it was towards the end of last year. A lot more options. It's going to make it more difficult for defenses to cover.
Well, the first interview of the year for the young Martinez. He is standing by with Brent Stover right now. Brent.
Ron, thanks. And Taylor, congratulations on the win. How comfortable were you in the pocket tonight?
I felt pretty comfortable in the pocket. I got used to it when I played throughout the game more. So.
How about those touchdown runs? I mean, pretty fancy moves from you.
Yeah, it was pretty good. First run, got the jitters out. scored a touchdown, so it went good.
What's your confidence level like, not just on the field, but off the field, in practice, in meetings right now, with everything? Because obviously as a freshman, there's a lot coming at you.
My confidence is pretty high right now, just because it's football, and you overcome anything. So,
how do you feel like the older guys have taken to you and your leadership?
They've taken it pretty well.
Well, it was a nice victory here tonight. It's always nice to get a win, regardless of who the opponent is. Anything that you've got to work on in practice, what would be the number one thing if you were to give me one?
Maybe stay in the pocket a little longer.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Taylor Martinez, the freshman. Guys?
You know, the coaches told us he was quiet, and they weren't kidding, were they?
And he didn't even get rattled in his first interview at all. He was precise with his answers. Yes, sir. No, sir. I will do exactly what you tell me to do. That is a guy right there. A lot of composure. You would think a young man might be jumping for joy, bouncing around. Stood there. Hey, I did my job. It's that Bo Pelini style.
They like the fact he had a solid attitude coming into this ball game, and I think we saw just a little taste of it there.
We did.
Well, that wraps it up as Nebraska wins their opener tonight, 49-10. Tonight's game is an exclusive presentation of FSN pay-per-view. Our next pay-per-view game will come your way next Saturday when Nebraska takes on Idaho. Coverage will begin at 11:30 p.m. Central Time. For producer Tim Patch, director Tom Williamson, Fred Stover, and Rich Baldinger, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks so much for watching, and good night from Lincoln, Nebraska.